Esports are one of the biggest names in Contenders trials after their participation in Contenders EU Season 1 and a strong performance in Overwatch Pit EU. The Danish squad finds themselves in 5th place going into Week 3 at 3 wins and 2 losses. While things haven't gone exactly as the players and organization would have hoped in 2018, the players are confident and even optimistic that the team is continuing to improve and has the potential to be one of the best in Europe. Today, I'm joined by Fall, Nerfed, and Mono to discuss their trial season so far. So I've got a taste a little bit already of the team dynamic of Singularity Esports, but I wanna hear it from you guys here. Either one to go first. What's the team dynamic like? Are you guys close, chummy? You guys, always memeing? What's that like for you guys?
The chemistry on the team is probably pretty close because most of the players have met each other in real life. Denmark is a small country, and basically all the Danish players know each other, and we basically talk together like with each other every day. So I would say we're pretty tight.
Do you, so what's your, like, without divulging too much information, I mean, we talked to a team yesterday who said we literally sit in a Discord call like 18 hours a day. Are you guys always in like that constant communication?
Some players are not, but yeah, we have like the Danish Discord, which is like where we sit most of our days.
Yeah, it's just like I think most like a lot of teams sit in like the team Discord, but in Denmark we're like kind of a close community, so we have like a Danish Discord where I think most Danish people just sit and just casually chill with each other. So I think that's where we kind of just chill with each other.
Well, I think, I mean, it's obvious you guys are close. I mean, you've got uh, Kellix right over there, just chilling, playing games in the apartment or wherever you guys are at. So, I mean, it's really cool that you guys have that really tight knit kind of synergy. It is very much uh, I guess, a country proud type org, I guess, at that point. Uh, I want to talk a little bit about play style. What would you describe it as?
Well, when we played the like 3 tanks, 3 supports, the goat comp thing, right? I guess we were very aggressive and kind of followed up on calls like very easily and pushed our advantages as well as we could. But I think it's hard to describe like what we're doing now when we're not playing as much 3-3 as we used to. So it's kind of like our playstyle obviously changed, and I'm not quite sure to what yet or like how to describe it yet because we're kind of new to it still.
So it's kind of pretty fluid. You're not like an overly aggressive team. You don't have like these aggressive tendencies or maybe really defensive tendencies. It's kind of just like flowing in the meta and letting that kind of dictate your play style, that type of flexibility.
Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
I'll still say we're kind of on the aggressive side though. I feel like we make more aggressive mistakes than we make like defensive mistakes. So I think that's one way to like see what our playstyle is going towards.
And where does that stem from? Do you have like tanks that are they just like to dive right in there, or is it we've seen sometimes too where aggressive supports kind of can push the team up sometimes.
I think it's overall we're just kind of aggressive.
Just overall, just like
I don't think it's like a specific role. I think we're just
on
all
the frags,
like, yeah, just want to press the W, you know.
Fair enough. Get me there as soon as possible. I want to talk a little bit about your past results. So most recently, the squad finished 4th in EU pit, and then you guys finished just outside of the top 8 in Contenders season 1. Mono, you I believe weren't with the org for Contenders or pit, correct?
I was with Pit, but not in Contenders.
I couldn't remember or not because I didn't have it officially listed. So overall, though, I would love to hear from the guys who have been through the different tournaments so far. How do you feel like your performance has been through 2018? Are you overall pretty happy with it?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, I feel like the contenders was kind of, yeah, I don't know. There's just something wasn't clicking, I think, and we had like, I wouldn't say internal issues, but there was like a lot of after scrims moments where we were just like kind of sitting there discussing things that probably shouldn't have discussed like that much. Um, so I think like, and we also made some roster changes, right? And I think that helped a bit, but it was kind of hard to figure out like what the roster should be. But I'm pretty sure we didn't want to get relegated from contenders.
Something that's interesting. I'd love to ask a follow up question about that because something that I have heard from just about every open division contenders trials team that I've had the opportunity to chat with is they always say one of the things that they kind of struggle with is what they spend their time with when they're discussing, whether it's discussing performance or strategies or whatever. It can either get like opinionated and unproductive, or just go too long. Like there's a little bit too much of that talking. But do you have an idea of like kind of where that might stem from? Like why teams have this tendency to want to maybe talk for a little too long?
There's both like opinions, and obviously, if you come from a disappointing result in a match, and if you like expected to win, you're gonna have to sit down after the like match and talk about what happened and why it happened. And yes, Mana said we're 6 people and we have different views on the match and different like takes on what we did wrong and stuff. So it's gonna take time to like find out like what we need to do for the next match. I guess people want to find the match fix, or like the fix for the for the match straight ahead, instead of like taking time and like trying to like cut it down into smaller bits. So like, that's like my take on it, at least.
That's fair. Mono, I wanted to ask you a question specifically because you're relatively new. Started, I think your first event was probably Pit, then with the team, and then officially announced here in early June. How have you been integrating into the roster? How's it felt? Do you feel uh, kind of in the zone now and kind of found your niche in the squad?
Yeah, definitely. Well, it wasn't a hard transition because, of course, I know all of the players. Um, so yeah, it wasn't a hard transition. It was pretty smooth coming into it.
And going strong still. What about you guys? You know, you brought in Mono. So either of you guys with the org beforehand, you brought in Mono. You know, is what is he kind of brought to the team in your eyes that you were missing?
I guess leadership. Um, he's like very good at taking control in the matches. I think we kind of lacked that. So yeah, he's very good at like taking leadership when we need it and trying to guide us like through the matches when we don't have an answer for stuff.
Yeah, I'd also say he brings in like a lot of experience because he has been playing with most EU teams, I believe.
Sure.
So I mean, he can like bring in like bits and pieces of what other teams are like doing and discussing.
Yeah, I mean, just from the interview, I mean, you sound calm, Mono. I can't imagine you like yelling at me or getting angry with me. So
I wouldn't dare to do that.
wouldn't dare. That's good. I'll mute you so fast. No, I'm just kidding. I would never do that either. So I want to talk about kind of goals for 2018 outside of kind of maybe who you're playing for or whatever, but your own personal player goals for 2018 that you've got set up for yourself. Nerfed, I'd love to hear kind of from you first. I mean, what in your eyes, what would the most perfect rest of 2018 look like for you from a competitive Overwatch standpoint?
We are gonna qualify for contenders, hopefully, and then
I like it.
we're gonna play well. We're gonna win our matches. We're gonna show what we can do and what we've been practicing on. Show that we can like play together, like show the best side we can possibly do, and just like obviously win the matches. I just want to go. I honestly just want to like qualify for contenders.
Cool. Fall, what about you? Anything to add?
I mean, Overwatch League would be nice,
Of
but
course.
it's kind of unrealistic unless Shanghai Dragons hits me up, I guess. But yeah, like contenders and preferably not going out to relegations again.
Sure.
But I think we're improving a lot right now, and I think especially like since I think we have like a better idea of what the meta is right now. So I think, and I also think that's why we like kind of turn around our trials and stuff. But yeah, contenders and preferably not going out in relegations again.
Fair enough. And then Motto, what about you? I mean, new org, you're in brand new here. What's the goal for you for the rest of 2018?
Okay, well, the goal is definitely getting into Overwatch League at some point, but for now, it's to qualify contenders, two contenders, and make sure we do good in contenders.
I like it. You've got the long-term goal, you've got the short-term goal. I mean, that's how success happens. I believe I'll be waiting for my nerfed fall and mono Overwatch League jerseys hopefully soon. You know, I'll be hitting those up. I have like this Overwatch League jersey collection that is just like stupid, so stupid, like more shirts than I probably ever owned in my life. So, last question before we get out of here. Thanks again, guys. There's a lot of people getting involved with the contenders scenes and the contenders trials scenes. They're finding their favorite kind of tier 2 teams outside of Overwatch League. And you guys are definitely there. You know, I've been there hosting a couple of your matches, and part of being a host is I get to basically do nothing during the games. And so I get to watch Twitch chat and just see you know, kind of what people are saying and what people are noticing. And there's no doubt that you guys are all kind of developing this following here. So for those fans out there or prospective fans out there, what would you like to say to them? Mono, I'll let you go first.
To our fans, like to thank them for the support, and I hope they will continue supporting us even if we won't keep doing good. Hope they will follow us if we manage to do bad, even though we hope we won't.
I believe. Fall, what about you?
Yeah, just thanks for following supporting us as well. Just keep spamming that hashtag SNG Army in the Twitch chat. It's always nice to see when you're like watching the bots of the stream and you just see like all the fans in the Twitch chat. That feels good, So yeah, just keep doing that.
And this will be broadcasted on the next time that we cast you guys on Twitch. So if you're in Twitch chat right now, go ahead and spam that, please. Let's do it. All right. Lastly, Nerfed, what about you?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you as well. Like, we're working our asses off to entertain you guys and to win our matches. So it means a lot to us when you give back to us. So yeah, just keep doing that, and we'll try to win our matches as well.
Awesome. Well, there you have it. Nerfed, Fall, and Mono from Singularity Esports. Let's get some SNG armies in Twitch chat. If you're not, just like text it to somebody randomly. If you're listening to it on like YouTube or whatever, just text it to somebody. See if they know. They probably know what you're talking about anyway. Thank you guys so much. Good luck this weekend. I won't be getting to host or cast anything. I'm going to be out of town, but I will be watching, cheering on Singularity Esports. So thank you guys again so much.
No worries.
Thank you, and thanks for having us.
The final week of Contenders Trials is upon us, and the top 8 Open Division teams are fighting for the final 4 spots to continue their path to pro to Contenders. Welcome to the Broadcast.gg Analyst Desk. I'm Lemon Kiwi. To my bottom left is Contenders commentator Dez, and to my bottom right, I hope I got that right, Broadcast.gg veteran analyst Kenobi. How's it feeling, fellas? It's an early morning for me, at least.
Me too. And we're the only 2 NA, so everyone else here has been through the day just a little bit. But, we're here right and early and ready to go. And I think Dez is also pretty happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm pretty good. What can I say? It's mid-afternoon. It's not quite early morning like you guys. I can't complain.
Well, this is going to be an exciting match. We got the Battle of Denmark versus France. I know, Des, I see you wearing some red, maybe sporting the Denmark. I know, Kenobi, you're hiding a France flag somewhere in your closet. But let's get into the first point, a very important point to touch upon. Snakes have lost their main projectile player, Nesh. He is left for the British Hurricane, and they have subbed him in for Visibility for the final week. So, Des, how do you think this will shape up for Snakes?
I think it's actually a very like-for-like change. Yes, the players are slightly different. Yes, they have a slightly different hero pool in some ways. But in terms of quality, both of these guys played, of course, in Contenders last season. So it's not like you've lost Lesh and had to pick up someone who's been playing solo queue, for example. You are getting someone who has got bucket loads of experience. And let's not forget, Visibility playing on August and Hungary alongside Shax, who is a Tracer main. Visibility had to be the flexible player on that team, and he has been playing a ton of Hanzo since the end of Contenders last season. So to be honest with you, I think he's actually going to gel very, very well into this team. Really looking forward to seeing on the impact that he has. For Singularity, I wouldn't be viewing this as a weakness. I'd be viewing this potentially. It's just a like-for-like team as to what they played against not too long ago.
Yeah, I don't think there's going to be that much difference between, what they were playing with Nesh and what they're playing with Visibility for Snakes here. Because, you do have that double sniper, which is so prevalent. And double sniper, the nature of it kind of is that you just play 1-on-1. The Hanzo is on maybe just trying to break those shields, even though this isn't the same meta. But, you have that Hanzo just down there. And then the Widow is off by himself. So Asking probably going to stay on that Widow. He's been playing it very well so far throughout these Contenders trials. And I think Visibility is going to be kind of that plug-and-play player. There's not going to be too much, I don't think, difference between the communication that Asking had with Nesh and Asking's going to have with Visibility. I think it's going to be totally fine.
Well, Visibility, known as the Flex DPS, and of course, under Orgless and Hungary, they won EU trials last season, so maybe this will be a reoccurring trend for Snakes, who are in currently the #1 seed. But to also bring a second fun fact that Snakes and Singularity have already played each other in Overwatch Pit Season 3, a tournament that just wrapped up not too long ago. And to keep in mind that this was played on the newer patch, so newer Hanzo and nerfed Brigitte, whilst Trials is played on Scatter Hanzo and better Brigitte. So, Kenobi, I apologize. Could this be a preview of what we could expect in this series?
Yeah, you definitely have to take a little bit of that caveat, that it was played on a different patch when they saw each other in Pit, and I believe Singularity won that 3-1, and it was a rather convincing type of map but I think it is something to be said about momentum here. Momentum, when you do, kind of have that little bit of an inkling of download complete. We have beaten them before. We can beat them again. We already have this momentum going into this next match, so I think they can definitely use that to their advantage.
Yeah, it's going to be a big one coming into it, I think, when you've got some kind of confidence into it, but you've got to remember equally that you've got a team here who's sat at the very, very top end of the table, one who's sat near the bottom and really kind of scrapping for survival here. It's very reminiscent of the Singularity game that we saw towards the end of Contenders last time around, where it was if you win, you make it into the top 8. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself going down into trials in just a few weeks. For those guys that time round, as we all know now, quite evidently, they did fall down into trials. So today is a big chance, I think, to show that they can succeed under pressure. They've got a very, very difficult matchup. You're against the #1 team, so it's not going to be easy. But if you're going to show up, boys, today is the time to do it.
I mean, yeah, that series did end up in a 3-1, a bit of a more one-sided series for Snakes in Pit, but different patch, so it could be a different story here in the trials now that these matches matter so much more. But we did bring up at the start of this, compositionally speaking, both these teams are very different. Snakes loving that double sniper, while Singularity have been sporting the quote GOATS comp of triple tank, triple support. But now with Visibility coming in, how is this puzzle piece fitting with the rest of the team? But Dez, based on what we know compositionally about these teams, where are the strengths between these teams?
I think this is where the weaknesses from Singularity really showed in Contenders last season, was that if they could win with Dive, they would win maps. If they couldn't win with Dive, they kind of flailed and struggled a little bit. And for now, it seems to have transformed into, if we can win with 3-3, then it's fine. If we can't win with 3-3, then we seem to struggle a little bit. These guys played this whole double sniper matchup against Snakes before, and frankly got ruined by Amazing. It wasn't the most fun time to be trying to play that against Snakes, I feel, in some way. So potentially, I think they're going to have to try and be creative here today as well. Going back to the ways of old and playing dive could be the way they try and pick this one out. If they're going to stack up against double sniper, I think they're really going to struggle against the Snakes roster, because these guys, as we've seen, can really, really dominate on this one. However, there's some flexibility in there. We've seen them run the 3-3, as said. Far plays a pretty nice Brigitte, so hopefully they've got some tools to bring to the table to upset Snakes. Otherwise, as we said earlier on, for Snakes, this could be just another day in the office, as it were.
Kenobi, anything to add on who you think has some strengths and some weaknesses compositionally?
I think that Singularity, has this. I think it's going to be very interesting stack up with double sniper, even if they play it at all, because as Des mentioned, the double sniper coming out from Snakes is just absolutely phenomenal so far. Asking, as I mentioned before, very good Widow, and Visibility can play that Hanzo. And when I saw from Singularity on this double sniper, it just doesn't look as good. Ovling, I'm not going to be able to, I think, get up to the level of Asking's Widow in this match. So I think they probably need to fall back onto that 3-3 combo. The issue with that is if you're too narrow in your team composition, it's going to be very easy for a team that's as flexible as Snakes to just, completely counter you in any way they can.
Well, Kenobi, finally, let's get to the juicy part of this introduction. How important the juice? How important is this match for both these teams? Snakes are #1 seed. Singularity don't have a qualifying spot yet. How important is this?
Well, for Singularity, it's basically a must-win. If they lose this, they have to basically a miracle has to happen for them to even get a sniff of that 4th spot. On the other side, for Snakes, if they win, they're pretty much guaranteed a spot into Contenders. So a lot is riding on this match, and for Singularity, it really is that last chance moment. They really don't have that much else to go on.
Des, how you feeling about this series?
I think with how it stands, like I say, we saw Singularity in this kind of spot last time round. They sat 3rd from bottom. They're 2 places away from a potential top 4. And you look at the top 4 teams that they've got to come up against here. You're looking at Bazooka Puppies. We have Org, 1 point, and of course Snakes that are playing against today. Those are 4 very, very tough teams who you wouldn't really pen down and say, okay, they're guaranteed to lose a match here. And I know that 1 point and we have Org are playing off against each other, but as it stands, even if they win today, they've got to ride on a miracle to get themselves in that top 4 spot. But we've seen crazier things happen, so who knows?
Well, speaking of crazy, I've got 2 wonderful casters, very British and very awesome, coming up to bring you the casting action of Snakes versus Singularity. Boys, take away map #1 for us.
Leg day, you muted.
Sorry, guys. I did a blank. I was muted, but British and awesome. That's an intro that I really like, but I imagine British and muted is probably a little bit more wrapped here. I'm going to have Sam steal that one for Contenders, maybe, because, of course, she's the only non-British cast member that we have there, being from South Africa. But we're going to be heading into map real soon. Our countdown time has just got extended by about 2 minutes. So you're going to have Blank and I ramble in your ears for a little bit. And let's talk about Visibility, and let's talk about Hanzo, Blank. I am really looking forward to this. We saw him play around with Envision on the future patch, of course, with the Hanzo. Envision didn't do great in Pit, but Visibility wasn't there for all of it, so I'm not sure how much of that you can pin on him.
So the thing with Hanzo coming back into its old patch on 1.22, although he's been playing around with it a lot, yes, he might have to change up his hero pool now, because the speed on the arrows got increased after 1.22, which means that you're playing around with a whole different projectile here. And a lot of the ways that this works out is it's muscle memory. And some players have it, some players don't. In this case, Visibility is going to be working on this all the time. So if you can't hit those shots because they're not going as fast as you want them to be, this might be either a minor factor or it could be huge and he might not play Hanzo whatsoever.
Yeah, it does mean that mechanical practice for Hanzo is a little bit more difficult. You can only really get it in those OPR scrims against other Contenders Trials teams, and playing Hanzo on live may actually be detrimental to your performance in Trials when it comes to that hero, because of a raw mechanical difference, as you said, the muscle memory, how you lead your targets, and swapping from like a more projectile-esque hero to something that's more akin to a hit scan in terms of how fast that arrow travels couldn't really sort of mess with a play, but I do believe we are now heading into map. We've got 15 seconds left on the counter. Ladies and gentlemen, SNG, or Singularity Esports, they are desperate for the win. Any loss here between today and tomorrow will kick them out of Contenders, or pretty much mathematically kick them out of Contenders. Whereas if 6nakes win today, they will be going. I'm pretty sure they're mathematically certain to get in, and we are heading to Lijiang Tower.
A lovely shot here, actually. I've not seen this shot before. Very nice as you come into the middle pit. And in this case, we're probably going to see more of this tank role played out, especially on Lijiang Tower. You're definitely going to see the Reinhardt, because there's none of this high ground really to contest as much as, so you can stay on the floor, get the Earth Shatter down, and if they come out, they're going to be huge. Probably going to see Obling on the side of Singularity, switch over to the Zarya here as we see him do. Mono probably might go back over to Mercy, just using the Lucio to speed him out the gate here, because you will need that Mercy to bring Nerf back up, because he has a very aggressive playstyle, likes to play 75% in the opponent's area, make sure they have no room to breathe.
Yeah, though we do have Lind up on the Moira, which is very effective for these conversations, because of course they usually stick together in that death ball, and that's where Moira is most effective, because her healing can affect up to all 5 of her teammates, providing they're all within the radius. And Far's going to be stopping over from that May. The tease is finished on to the Brigitte. Looks like a 3-3 coming out from Team Singularity. Meanwhile, 6nakes are going for triple DPS. They don't want to be around here for long.
This is actually a very, very good pick and read from 6nakes here. They're really going to constrict Singularity, but Mono picking up asking there, going around their outside, is going to give them a head start advantage for Team Singularity. Now they just need to remain on the point.
And Team Singularity are pretty happy to be staying around here. There's not much health that 6nakes can really throw at them to try and get them off this point. And Aiko's going to be trying to make some inroads here. And I'm surprised to see that we've got Vigility on the Tracer instead of a Pharah. But we'll have to see if we can get down some damage. Obling appears to be his primary target, but already a couple lessons coming out from Lind. And that may well be too much healing for the side of 6nakes to deal with. They can't stay on my point, and Team Singularity going to get the first kill.
Obling goes down now. Heiko's pulled back up again, so there's no coalescence to deal with that. So they just went down this fight. 17% on Lind, and Molfig has gone extremely low. Down goes Fal, and Kodak falls afterwards. Heiko taking out the Diva mech, and Diva falls afterwards.
Taking out the Diva mech and taking over this point. Kill after kill coming through for Heiko, and he's still got the barrage in the back pocket if he needs it. He's got his eyes on Mono. Escape for your life, Lucio. Escape for percentage. And unfortunately, looks like 26%, so all they're going to get. 6nakes are going to flip control here in Lijiang Control Center.
Yeah, the snake out of nowhere, and that Viper's Bite is definitely stinging. So 6nakes stayed in this one. It was very clever. Cave managed to stay very safe, and Team Singularity haven't switched off this actual comp that they're playing because they are so invested. They have so much ultimates. They can't let up now. They want to switch to Nova. They were on 26%, but there's the barrage.
And Lind's down. That is the linchpin of this composition. The area of effect, or rather cone of effect healing, is no longer available. There's a little bit of orb flying around, which will give people some healing, but won't last for long. And now Fal's just trying to pressure out Christopher, who didn't manage to get back to his healers. He's going to get taken out, but it's just it's a consolation kill here for Team Singularity. They managed to get Christopher, but very little else. They managed to get out the tactical visor as well from Asking. Decided he was going to augment his aim against his rather large hitboxes. I'm not sure if it was that much worth it, but at least now he's going to be able to start building up to a new one.
Back into the fight now. Graviton coming very, very shortly. Because this team is so split up, it's hard to get a decent Graviton out of this fight. There goes the Sound Barrier, keeping him for a little bit longer now, but it's still Heiko in the sky. Graviton now engaged.
And there goes the Self-Destruct trying to combo with that, and now it's going to take out Christopher, who was charged into it. Down goes the barrage, the weather report is in, but the Obling going to be supplying an umbrella in spades here. Team Singularity taking Heiko out of the air. And 6nakes, they've retreated off a point, they've scarpered, they're not going to be trading their lives for percentage, and with 68% on the board, Team Singularity will manage to get the flip.
I don't know how many people carry on 2 umbrellas at the same time, but Obling's definitely doing that. He has the projected and the self barrier, keeps him pretty much safe from that. And now they still have not switched over the point. Got a little bit of percentage on it here. Now the pulse bomb's going to be crucial. Who will it go on? But he misses it.
Yeah, he's showing the floor who's boss now. He's going to spend that recall as well, right next to Farby. You don't want to be staying there for long. You can get shield bashed and removed in short order. Kodak's going to be removed first, so disassembled by Molfi. Other facilities still doing work. Mono's down, so is Lin. Team Singularity don't have the healing to really stay in this fight, and Asin going to try and put on the pressure. Here comes the tactical visor, who's going to find themselves in his sights. For now, it's all about hiding behind. Nerfed not going to be picking up that rocket in the way that he wanted. Asin managing to whip that one around the shield, didn't he? You could get curve on rockets as you push them in.
And this is something we don't talk about with soldiers, is that sprint ability is so important for repositioning value. You got the D.Va came up there, dropped the back shield to keep him up a little bit longer. Lucio came from, and you sprint an array quicker than those skates that Lucio can skate at it.
And the Mono are back. That means the point is still yet to be flipped. It's last fight territory now. In comes the self-destructive master. She's going to claim Arsenal. He couldn't sprint away in time. Down goes the hammer, and he picked up both for supports of 6nakes. Cave and Kodak are down. Heiko's going to be joining them. Lynn's just going to be coming out with a biotic grasp. The rally is there. It's a team kill for Team Singularity. And a statement has been made on Lijiang Tower.
And we saw this a couple of weeks back now, like from 1 point versus Team Singularity. These guys will keep batting at your heels. You can't underestimate them. They're a very strong team. They've kept a lot of their roster the same. So that team play is there and it's in full effect. And we see it now as they just stick to the guns. They stay on the free tank, the free support there, and they remain on point. It's so difficult to keep them off. The reason 6nakes went with that free DPS and stay off it is because it keeps Team Singularity at arm's length. But Heiko, or Visibility, Heiko, who was on the Varrow, wasn't taking advantage of that and building those barrages as soon as possible. He needs to have those uptime a lot more to take out the heavy targets on the side of Team Singularity.
Well, he's going to be passing the torch now. Blanket will be Visibility going onto the Pharaoh. We know him very well for it. Arsing's going to be joining one with Widowmaker. It's going to be mirror compositions here from Team Singularity and Snakes. Widowmaker and Pharaoh versus Widowmaker and Pharaoh. And already Team Singularity, their tank line's going to be moving on to the point. They want to try and claim the positioning there as the dogfight in the skies begins to evolve. But Arsing is going to start taking out Obling. That's a body shot right there with a Discord Orb combined. Is going to remove the enemy sniper.
Yeah, and he was on the sidelines, right? Askin immediately took his position, and you can't contest those sidelines. You want to stay on point, but Visibility is going to continue to throw in those rockets, and that's Team Singularity been removed from the point. Kodak taking up the double kill and taking the DMAC as well as, so you got to watch out for him because he is finding those shots. Asking now, very dangerous position, but finds the shot off Obling, and that's going to send him back by 10 seconds.
Obling getting spawn camped here. Mono's going to come through with a res, and of course, Asking couldn't stay in that explosive position for long. Not quite the grapple shot that he wanted. He's going to have a quick reposition here. Get the intel from his team as to where the enemy are coming in. Christopher going to have a quick leap away. Needs to get back to his heels.
Now, Molfik's coming up on his deep self-destruct here, and a lot of the games we've seen him, the way he places these are very good. Often gets 1 to 2 targets. It'll be up to Visibility with his barrage to prevent them from coming inside the point.
There it is, but maybe some knockoffs here coming from Heiko, but he throws himself into a self-destruct and he gets thrown into the koi pond. Fish food there is Heiko, but it looks like 6nakes are still going to end up winning this one out there, filling up the kill feed, and Molfik's going to try and stay alive here, but it's probably going to have to throw himself off the edge, but actually he's on the point. He should have ejected the other way, buddy. Luckily, Christopher is going to oblige. No stagger there, just a Simian slap to the small Korean girl's face. Get out of here.
You can afford to use Primal Rage as well as in the situation because you have this self-destruct when they come into the point, be the bouncer that 6nakes needs at this point in time. And they can't afford to let up here. This is one of their best maps because they have Asking on Widow and Visibility can stay in the sky as well as, and Heiko can take full advantage of that D.Va. Nerfed now can drop the Primal Rage and go into the backline, but already taking a lot of damage.
Kodak's off the edge, I imagine. Nerf's going to be picking that one up, and now Obling's on the Genji, trying to challenge out the Widowmaker more directly. But unfortunately, Visibility isn't going to be challenged out in the air by the Primal Region Winston quite as much as they would have liked. However, Falls here to pick up the slack. Heiko, the D-Mech, and the D-Life coming through from the Tracer, and Visibility with a clean movement through the doorway. Nice right angles, son. Pythagoras would be proud. But unfortunately, 6nakes aren't going to be too proud of that fight. Losing the point with 83% on the clock.
And just like Pythagoras, all these angles came together in the end. Nerf managed to drop Kodak off the edge, so there's no Disco Orb to quickly burn him down as he jumps in the backline. 6nakes only has the D.Va bomb to work with here. Kodak will be coming on the Transcendence World, so remain on point a little bit longer. For Molfik, again, another D.Va self-destruct.
And there we go, an early Transcendence. This can be a good disengage here from 6nakes. It looks like that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to try and make it happen again. Kodak coming in with the Transcendence, but they don't move forward. And now Nerfed into their midst. In comes Overling. He's got the Lightsaber out, trying to bring balance to the Force, and he's certainly going to be doing that. Kodak and Asking falling by the wayside. Christopher's just putting Tesla Coil into the wind, and appears that's all it's going to achieve. 6nakes rebuffed, and that was with a huge investment there. Both their support ultimates.
Obling sliced that snake into pieces. Japanese will be very proud of him there, making the next nice little bit of sushi meal. Kodak now drops the Lind. Lind brought back up by Mono. Obviously, that's a res down, not for one of the big targets on the point to bring him back into the fight.
And Aski now has his sight line. Is he going to be able to play it? Though Mono's going to draw out the Valkyrie. That means a lot of healing is going to be available for the side of Team Singularity as they move forward. In comes that all-important Primal Rage from Nerf. 2 support kills here. Now, it's go time for 6nakes. They've only got one more fight. That's their margin of error here. Team Singularity ticking up towards 90%. And if they claim this point, they claim Lijiang Tower.
Obling and Far playing to the extremes at the moment. Morphic invests his self-destruct, doesn't find anyone, but Christopher has to use the Winston shield, so has to be a little bit careful on the push in. So it will be Heiko going by himself. If he drops now on the DMAC, it could spell disaster here. But finally back in, Asking in the background, the tactical visor.
Brings out the tactical visor, and Mono's going to be his first target. Everyone is falling one after another. The pincer movement from snakes. I didn't know snakes have pincers. Evolution is bloody scary, Blank.
Scorpion snakes. I mean, they're often referred to in the same category, right? But these guys, they've definitely got
they're not.
to them. Sometimes, come on.
One's an arachnid and one's a reptile.
You're in the desert, you get stung by a scorpion, and the snake comes along, he bites you. It's a terrible time. Farl now coming in the background to bite this side of Singularity.
Asking to sit on that bomb. Once again, it will be the Transcendence coming out from both sides. Kodak and Lind going to be making sure that everyone's feeling the Transcendence, feeling nice and comfortable within the point. But it's a double support ultimate. Here comes Opening, but no! The only balance that's going to be applied is balance to the Morg, because he's going straight back there, courtesy of Lind. And looks like 6nakes are taking this one over. Vasili's going to be hammering on with the mace. Far into the back. Keeping overtime in session, but it's just 150 health and a dream versus a world, and the world's full of snakes, and I think you might be allergic to a bite. It's 1-1 on the point.
Obling this time wasn't able to find the key success that he found last time with the blade there, was forced immediately to drop the deflate, which is why you know that as soon as the blade came out, 6nakes were on that. They're not going to fall for the same trick twice. Team Singularity have to come back into this with a new reinvigorated passion for the win, because they are down 1, and this could decide the KOF map right now.
Well, the real decider that's going to be bringing it to us is the control menu of our observing team. What's going on, kids?
I think we're getting rid of the chat at the moment, because
we may well be removing chat. We'll have to see. Oh, technical difficulty is actually going to be the play here, and I imagine you're going to see our lovely faces once again for a couple of moments. Hello. For those of you just joining us, we are here with Overwatch Contenders Trials, a final week. Saturday, it's going to be 6nakes going up against Team Singularity. Team Singularity currently sitting in 3 wins and 2 losses. If they lose a game this weekend, there's no way that they're getting into Contenders. Meanwhile, 6nakes.
Much better position, aren't they? They're a first seed at the moment. If they win this, they're pretty much guaranteed a spot in Contenders. It might not be first place, but it'll be definitely one of the places at the top 4. These guys, they're not doing a bad job. They've come very, very far. Live stream has actually just gone offline, so we'll get that back up for you very shortly. We might throw back to the desk and they can break down the KOF map.
Well, they're gonna be able to maybe break down 2 stages. I'm just gonna throw you under the Reinhardt charge here, guys. Hey, desk, what's going on?
Doing?
Knock knock, who's there? We're still here. Broadcast.gg analyst Kira Lemon Kiwi, still Desuchu and Kenobi, and bit of a technical difficulty, but lots to talk about. Map 1, guys. We saw triple DPS, triple tank, and triple support from Singularity. Talk about Control Center first. What was interesting to note, guys?
Insanity in general, I think, across especially both maps. And since the longer those 2 maps went on, it got a bit crazier, especially on Gardens, where the comps were changing every 20 seconds, it felt like. But like you say, back on Command Center itself, triple DPS, that's a bit of a British Hurricane special. We saw that quite a lot on Sanctum, on the PAR last time round in Contenders. Haven't really seen any of the teams doing it, but I liked what they were trying to do there. They were trying to get Facility into this place where he could really shine and show what he was made of. Big problem is that he played in a team where his other DPS player was their Tracer player, and now you're trying to force Facility to play Tracer after he has played Hanzo pretty much exclusively. So it was a bit rough. A few missed pulse bombs in there. Didn't really manage to get the kill factor in there onto crucial targets. Made it a bit rough for them. But overall, I've got to give some credit to Singularity as well. They actually held the point down really, really well with that 3-3 comp.
Yeah, and with that 3-3, we were talking about it, Des. They were getting like absolutely shelled coming into it. It looked like it was just going to be an easy win for Snakes there. But the ultimates finally came online, and that's important thing when it comes to that 3-3 comp is once you get that grab, once you get those combos, that earth shatter, all these ultimates, and then you can just hold the line, which is very important on that map. You don't let them get back onto the point, and they did a very good job of countering the Tracer. Vasily kind of give him a few gifts there with some missed pulse bombs, as you mentioned, maybe a little bit of rust coming in from him, but I think they did a very good job of understanding their comp, not getting frazzled by what Heiko was doing on the air in that fair, because they didn't really have that big of a counter to it. But I think it was a very good job from them understanding their composition and understanding more so the enemy's composition as well.
Well, I mean, Control Center started off for Singularity, 100-68. But then we go on to Gardens, and this, I think, Des, you hit it right on the nail here. That's craziness. But I love the adaptation that Singularity brought out. Why don't you guide us through what they did right and ultimately did wrong at the end?
It felt like it for both teams, to be honest with you. It was kind of like they were trying to continually outsmart each other. It's constantly taking comps to a new level. We started out with the Widow duel, then we have Facility coming out on the Pharah, and then we saw Singularity go to full dive, and then we saw Tank coming out of the other side. It was just constant back and forth changes between them. And this is exactly what I said before the game started about Singularity, was they tend to fall back to one comp. In this case, it was full dive. When nothing else works, you go back to that standard comp. If that doesn't work, that's where we've seen them really struggle historically in the past. And for the longest time it worked, just so it turned out in that final fight that Obling found himself in a very precarious position.
That's a good way of putting it.
Completely the wrong time. Yeah,
that's a good way of putting it. That's a nice way. That's a nice way of putting it.
It's me trying to be respectful to Obling. But there's a few question marks around that ult, we'll say that much. And it's quite a surprise because this is a guy who is actually one of the more proficient players when it came to the dive comp on this team. His Genji was fantastic in Contenders. But here, kind of dropped the ball at the final moments, lost in that second round. Unfortunate, but it happens.
And, asking also, going to the other side of the coin, asking their, just showing himself to be a complete flex player, picking up that soldier and, when the Widow wasn't working because Widow into full dive, not really, the best idea there because you're probably going to get blown up every single fight. And, he was winning that, 1v1 with Obling, forced Obling to switch over to the Genji. And then asking, in that last fight, we talked about, that Dragon Blade that comes up, asking understood that, like, I have to kill Obling on this Genji since he has Dragon Blade. We don't have our Transcendence, so they focused him down very, very well. So Obling's timing was probably off, but very good job from, the side of Snakes to get rid of Obling and make sure that he wasn't able to, pop off, get a 4K, 3K, and win the fight for his team.
Well, I mean, we're going into now map 3 on Lijiang Tower. I believe it'll be Night Market. So maybe we could discuss what Singularity need to do to close this out. They're making this a close game. 100-99 was the score for Snakes on Gardens. And what do you guys think will happen on map 3?
I think it'd be very, very similar to what we saw on Command Center, to be honest with you. Gardens gives you that flexibility to pick out the more, so as you could say, somewhat extended sight lines when you're actually looking more down from the edge of the bridge, for example, going for the main pickoffs there. You also have things like the far which you can bring out thanks to all the open air. You get some flexibility with that when you're outside of the control point itself on Night Market. When it actually comes to the point itself, though, you're going to find tanks will reign supreme thanks to the good blocking of sightlines that you get thanks to the building itself. So I think in this case, you'll probably see Singularity go back to that 3-3 once again. And the real question is, what do we see come out of Snakes on the other side? Because we saw the triple DPS sort of falter and stutter and not really ever find an opportunity to really shine. They've got to mix things up and maybe even try and match that 3-3 coming out of Singularity. Otherwise, you might find Singularity coming off to that dream start that we spoke about before the series began.
And I also think, I think we'll probably see that fair. I mean, Heiko played it very, very well. I don't think it'll be him. I think they'll probably put Facility onto the fair this time and maybe have asking, play like, go back to the soldier, play something else, maybe a Widow if they're feeling, lucky. I think that the way that the way that this map works is, Des mentioned, is that the tanks are going to reign supreme. So I think maybe you just try and match that, get your own Reinhardt, Zarya, maybe, get the triple DPS, but maybe not do the 3-3-3, maybe do like a 3-2-1, something like that, where you just have the Pharah in the sky and the 2 supports. That could work as well, since they're not going to have really anything to counter that Pharah. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what these 2 teams are coming out with, because, as we mentioned, they seem very flexible with comps, and they seem to be playing whatever it needs to take to win.
I feel kind of sorry for Ryan, or not Ryan, sorry, Chris, who's stuck playing Winston. And I said about the guy a few times last season. Ryan is by far and away his best tank. It's what we see the guy shine on. It's what he's known for. And right now, especially alongside the triple DPS, he's being forced to play the Winston because of the mobility and the shielding that it brings to the support. So I'd like to see an opportunity, actually, where he gets to really show what he's made of. Because in this kind of meta, Reinhardt shines, and he should be given that chance to show what he's made of. So I kind of do expect Snakes to go towards the 3-3 themselves, if not some kind of tank-heavy variant.
Yeah, just like, he didn't look happy by his playstyle playing out Winston. I think he wanted to be swinging his hammer around at teammates and just like hitting those fire strikes.
Fatty shatties.
Yeah, fatty shatties, dude. He does not want to be on Winston. He wants to be in it with Reinhardt, just on that point, just swinging away. I think that's really where he shines. You're right.
But now we also have to mention Facility. We got a bit of a taste of what he's doing with the roster, sporting the Pharah, brought out the Tracer. What do you, Des, let's start with you. What do you think how Facility's doing so far based on the 2 maps?
It's kind of hard to call because it's been a very scrappy, and it's been more of a game based around team comps and individuals. We mentioned his Tracer.
Rusty.
Wasn't really what I expected. Rusty, probably in the sense of that he's never really had to play it before because he's always been a projectile DPS. And as I said, he's been playing a lot of Hanzo recently. Tracer probably not what any pro player or any semi-pro player is looking to play at the moment, because she's very out of meta as it stands. More niche in this kind of situation where you want the triple DPS for the harassing from different angles. I think otherwise, though, he was pretty good on the second map. He did flex around quite a lot and fit into what the team was trying to do. And I think that's a pretty big testament in itself. If you can keep up with what a team is trying to do, and they're trying to switch comps every 15, 20, 30 seconds or so, that just so that he's at least able to keep up with the pace that this team is trying to move at, and that's a pretty good sign. But I think you'll need another couple of maps to really see what it is that he's bringing to this roster compared to what Nesh used to.
Yeah, and I don't think we had this discussion, is he going to be able to, fit in with asking? And I think he's been fitting in pretty well. I haven't seen like much things that have dictated, they're having some communications or issues or anything like that. I think he's, pretty much a plug and play player. He's filling that role that Nesh is in. And as you mentioned with the flexibility, we said that, the flexibility was an issue with Singularity, but, Snakes, they're able to flex all they want.
Well, looks like we have our map 3 loaded up here on Night Market. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but Blank and my fellow Leg Day, bring us map 3. Who will take it?
Your fellow Leg Day. So you're now Lemon Kiwi Leg Day. Cool. It's a good name. I can't really argue with that, but 6nakes once again in the blue, Team Singularity in the red, and it all comes out. It's basically sudden death, Blank.
It is really sudden death at this point. Anyone could lose. It could go over to Singularity or it could go over to 6nakes. And we've seen Team Singularity bite at the heels of teams before like this. But 6nakes have the better position at the moment. Just shooting in on the Team Singularity at the moment. Getting that damage in is especially important for Heiko as he builds up towards the barrage. It's weird because typically Night Market is one of those points where you just want to get on the point and stay there. But Heiko in the skies.
Oh, wow, nice catch, buddy. Heiko removing him in short order, and now Morphic's going to be the target of his desires. But guys, get on the point. You've got control. Don't let them get in here. There we go. 6nakes finally moving their way onto the objective, doing their best quick play Widowmaker cosplay there.
Very similar ideas from both teams. Just chill around the point for a little while, put some damage into each other. But now 6nakes, they have the advantage after winning this first point. All advantages all the way up. Heiko, 70% of Facility already on the Tracer Bomb. So you can go in and take out one of the big body targets like Nerf, who goes very aggressive very often. There's the D-Mech, and Pulse Bomb going to come out shortly after.
The Discord orb. Oh no! Okay, that was close. Sorry, that one scared me. Facility's also 9 HP. That's pretty scary as well. Foul chasing him down, winning out that race. And Heiko, don't challenge out Lind. Lind will embarrass you if you let him. Looks like he's feeling a bit aggressive. Once again, he's got Cave at his back, so he's got all the healing and the damage that he needs. But Team Singularity didn't quite get enough there. They lost Molfig and his mech, so it's back to the drawing board.
Yeah, and they're not creating ult percentage quick enough, and now Cave's up to his Valkyrie now, and that's a high tempo ultimate, which is just going to allow them to snowball this one out. There's the barrage, taken away from the Diva Matrix, but still finds him anyway. Now it's going to be up to asking, and will he ask the big prize of taking back this point?
Mono trying his best to get a resurrected there, but a little bit too high. He was taken out from the bottom by Kodak, and Kodak coming through with a triple kill, at least for DMEC, and the double. Vasili's going to finish that one off, putting Lind in the grave. That's not the faithful adaptation of the London cinematic that I wanted to see, but hey, it's interesting fan fiction.
I mean, I'd read it. At the moment here, though, Facility, he's having a very good time. So he has another Tracer Bomb, so the Pulse Bomb's ready to go. But Fal's finding Kodak. But what we'll see here is Facility find a lot of these targets in the back. Morphic drops the Diva Bomb, and there's the Blade.
One explosion, two explosion, Obling trying to make his way through, and Cave's going to go down, courtesy of the damage boost. Great play there to try and move around what was being presented by 6nakes. However, they didn't really invest that much in terms of ultimates. 6nakes, though, they got 99%. Now they just need to win one fight in there, saving up some ultimates to do it with. Asking, going to move over from the Widowmaker now onto the Brigitte. He knows that Brigitte's a bit better for that, for the breaching and clearing, but Basility's actually going to pick that one up. And Asking is once again back to the Soldier 76.
Zilly drops over to Brigitte now. We're coming up on the final fight territory. Nerf and Morphic had another slight disconnect in previous game, so have to see how Nerf's aggressive playstyle goes against Vasily. But already, the dive is in full effect.
Asking lays down the biofield, and Opening may well have to get out of there, but he's been afflicted with a Discord Orb and chased down by Christopher. An excellent landing from a Monkey, once again proving himself to be the apex predator. And now someone needs to get the hell out of there, because it's been D-Max. It's going to be Morphic trying his best to get away, but he's going to have to get back on the point. Overtime is in session. No one from Team Singularity's there. It's going to be Nerve coming in the clutch with the Primal Rage, but is anger enough to relate the Snake? No, it will not be. He may well have been the Gorilla, but today's the Sacrificial Lamb, trading his life for seconds. Obling's going to go down as well, and 6nakes are going to try and bring this one back. It looks like no one's going to be able to get to the point. It's a warding self-destruct. It's not going to pick up anyone that I can see, but 6nakes are going to be picking up a victory here on Lijiang Tower.
They had the team meeting in a time where the technical devs are around. They talked it through, and they just thought, well, we're going to play dive against them. We're not going to play anything different. We're just going to go against each other and battle it out in the case of mechanical skill. And this is why we see these fights devolve so quickly, because this is the way the fights go when it is a contention of mechanical play. A lot of the times the fights will start out strong, and then slowly the players with the better mechanical abilities will just slowly take on that goal.
Yeah, and I really want to highlight how differently they played the triple support, or not the triple support, but triple DPS on that map compared to Control Center. Because on Control Center, we saw it was a pretty fruitless attempt for Snakes to make that work. However, here on Night Market, it was a little bit different. I think that's because of where Singularity decided to position themselves. They didn't move onto a point. Instead, they decided to play around that mega health pack. And that meant that those doorways were a method by which Christopher could get out poke, but also play rather safely as well, because he could rotate around those doorways and make sure that no one could really get in there. And, or rather, that they had to come out to try and damage him.
Heiko has had a great time on this map, and I don't understand why Singularity would move off the 3-3 comp, because it works so well, right? They had the Brigitte, they had the Lucio, and the Moira, so that's all the healing they needed. And in that case, it was almost Nerf was brought back into the team play, not playing super aggressively in this case, and Morphic could play around him, and it was just 6nakes not just being able to get any advantage on the point whatsoever. Now they're playing this dive, they weren't playing it as great as the side of Snakes were, and you saw this time Heiko was able to build up the barrage. It's cool to see, though, because a lot of guys on the side of Snakes can play Farah. So they have incredibly flexible comps that they can bring out at any time, which is extremely helpful in this kind of meta at the moment, where it's a trifecta and it's rock, paper, scissors, tank, dive, and spam comps.
Yeah, they have this like rotating door at Farah players. Like, did we put Heiko on it? Oh no, Chris is taking a bit too much damage. We need him on the Diva. Well, who do we put on it? Okay, let's put on Vigility. We'll put Asking on Soldier 76, and let's talk a little bit about Soldier 76, because this hero is not really too common in our current meta because of the amount of shields that he goes up against. It's really hard to get sustained damage down with the Soldier 76 against shields. It's far better to try and circumvent them by doing something like use a Brigitte with a melee attacks and a shield bash, or move around them by using a more mobile sort of sniper hero. But what we saw is that when Winston and Diva came out from the side of Singularity, Asking would go over to the Soldier, and it wasn't overly effective for the start of Night Market, but eventually they figured out exactly what they had to do. They had Asking build up towards the ultimate and then use the pincer movement. It's just like some classic Art of War stuff going down.
Yeah, so Sun Tzu definitely giving them a couple of lessons in the art of war there. And a lot of times it was asking, though, and I really like that you brought this up, like, Dave, because what he usually do is towards the beginning, yes, it wasn't as effective, but once he started to realize that I've got so many avenues of attack here, there's so many sightlines I can open up as Soldier 76, he started to move around into these corners, into the less known sightlines. So he went all the way around through the point to the back line and was going through that way. It became so easy for these guys to make the pincer. And I mean, when we were talking about the Scorpion earlier, and that's exactly what's been happening with Snakes. They're not in the same category, guys. I looked it up whilst the analyst meeting was going on. I do apologize, Leg Day, but Google has saved me in this circumstance.
What, snakes and scorpions are the same thing?
No, they're not. I confirmed that. Don't worry.
So you've buried yourself?
Yes. I have dug myself in this case.
Doing the trid. But I want to talk once again about asking on Lijon Gardens. It was really good that he identified that there were very few things that could push him off the edge so that he could actually go around that more precarious bridge route over the pond. And Heiko and Christopher were really well coordinated in order to try and demand attention so that Asking could have safe matches around to the back and lay down the tactical visor upon Mono. And once Mono was gone, it just sort of fell apart for Team Singularity. But to try and build it back up again, we are heading over to our home London. It's going to be King's Row.
And just quickly, I know we are going to King's Row, but you're saying that a lot of times when Mono goes down, the rest of Team Singularity, they kind of crumble in that case, right? 6nakes, they're not afraid to play a man down. Like a lot of times you might see one of the Pharaohs go down, but they continue to fight out the point, wait for the team, and they can play this disengaged style very, very well. So especially on King's Row, where it's a case of blast everyone on the point, find some new positioning. If you see 6nakes lose a man, don't count them out in this situation. They might come back fighting.
They may well do so. But Team Singularity, they're going to be opening up on the defense, as we said. It's going to be what I'd like to refer to as the Overwatch League defense. That's where you see it all the time. The combination of the Junkrat and the Widowmaker and Nerf to appear on the Orisa are going to be taking advantage of this area above the large health pack. For 6nakes, looks like they're going to be moving around. Could this be no, Cave's got a swap. Wow. There we go. Okay, yeah. It is going to be a 3-2-1. Asking is going to be the sole DPS on the Widowmaker.
I was going to do my best free compression and say that's a ton of damage, but they've cut it down slightly. Now, these guys on the top ground, what works great against this kind of comp is cleave damage, so a Genji or a Winston. So we'll have to see how 6nakes circumvent this. Kodak already up to 33%, but Team Singularity happy to stay on the high ground whilst File builds up to that Riptide. But they're already on the point, and now Team Singularity have to go down.
The main circumvention that needs to be happening here is that Nerf needs to move down onto a point. He needs to move his shield, and once he does so, that will be time for Asking to start getting stuff done. Fal sends him a tie, but doesn't quite claim anyone. Now Asking's just trying to desperately trade damage, and he is going to get his eyes on his co-sniper, but Heiko's going to be able to finish that off with a quick flick onto Mono. Get out of here, son.
That was a very, very clean shot, and Snakes they'll brush this one into the bag, and they'll take the first point with relative ease. And that comes down to mainly Christopher playing this very defensive role on the point, making sure his shield is up, and he stayed out the sideline of the spam. So Team Singularity weren't able to build up the huge ultimates they needed quickly. Sure, Foul got the Riptide, but they're already up to 1/3 at that point, and they just need to dodge out. I don't think he got the Riptide quite far enough to pick up Christopher, so that's just unfortunate in this case. We could have seen something different go down, but now 6nakes are in a great position to continue on through this point.
Obling also assaults off the Widowmaker and onto the Zarya, so that's going to be surging forward. Is 6nakes, they got the couple lessons in their back, but it's not quite enough to save Cave. There's the pin coming through. Visibility managed to shield himself thanks to a charge, you'll say, as he moves away. There is the Graviton Surge, and in comes a self-destruct. That's a big bang, but it's not going to be picking up any kills this time. It's going to be Asking who's filling the kill feed, but Obling's on his tail. 2 HP in a dream. You got to get out of there, son. You can't take any damage. He's missed a shot on File. He's missed for a second right now. He's going to be under pressure once again. He's gained 10 health from somewhere, and Cave has come to give him that healing beat. He's just going to push the car a little bit forward, but he doesn't have a backup right now to make things work.
A single bandage he found around the corner there. But 6nakes, they continue to push around. File sends out the next Riptire. Going pretty predictable route over the top of the house to see if Asking can pick this one up, but drops down. Will find a lot of damage onto Christopher. Projected barrier just coming out a little bit too late, but it'll be Obling and Molfig finding that D-Mech and the kill onto Heiko that's going to push them back. But Coalescence again.
But despite that, the Coalescence has been invested. Obling's gone down. There's a counter-attack coming through. Nerf tried to lay down the hammer, and he got so many on the ground. Question is the follow-up going to be there? Cave is liquefied against the wall. The skates can't save you from that, and Lind can't be saved from Widowmaker either, doing his best Mondana cosplay as Widowmaker puts him in the grave.
Now he has the infrasight. So this is extremely important, especially on this point where you can hide on the left side or inside the houses. Knowing exactly where people are means that the dive and the push forward from 6nakes can be incredibly coordinated, especially with Asking. He switches off. No more infrasight. I was going to say Asking is now on the Brigida, but obviously that gets rid of the infrasight here. So they'll be going for a heavy tank off.
The Graviton Surge coming through and it landed on top of Christopher's head. Wasn't enough to save Vasily. Christopher's caught in a trap. He's going to try and move forward, swinging now. Nerf's under pressure, but he's going to lay down the hammer. 5 on the floor, both for supports. Christopher's down, so is Asking. And as quickly as they came in, 6nakes are going to be exterminated.
Those were some very, very brave plays coming out from this team there. We saw Nerf to drop down so low, yet he continued to pull out the Earth Shatter. That was a very much do or die time, and Nerf definitely did. Now, be 6nakes coming back. They will have this Graviton, so Vasily cannot go down early here. They'll need the Coalescence to do a little bit of damage on top of that, but Christopher can swing, get up to that Earth Shatter, and then they'll combo around this corner. But File could be huge as Riptide as it comes around the side.
Out of a bookstore and into the fire. Down it goes, but Mono's caught out. He went a little bit too far. There's a Graviton Surge into the wall, and Christopher's going to start swinging into that. He's almost got himself an Earth Shatter for his troubles. Everyone blown away by a concussive mine, and Fast's going to pick up Asking. But all he's going to be able to get for that is Ult Charge. And 6nakes are going to finally claim the fight.
I mean, you're saying Zenyatta's cosplaying Mondana, but at the moment it's Christopher cosplaying a bear as he's running into these traps at the moment. Heiko now on the self-destruct, Asking with the rally, and as we know on 1.22, Asking with this Brigida rally, it will bump them all up to 150 HP. There's going to be a lot to chew through the side of Team Singularity, so this Diva self-destruct bomb is going to have to be extremely well placed from Molfig.
Well, let's go on to back, and once again, Mono's down first. Nerf can lay down the shadow at a moment's notice, and he's going to have the health to do so, or Transcendence is there. Transcendence is finished, though. And down goes the shadow from Christopher, but the counter coming through! Who's going to be following that up? No one is. Asking goes down, crushed against the wall, but down comes the self-destruct. It's going to pick up Cave, and it's going to get the D-Mech on Heiko as well. And at the last point, it may well be that 6nakes are fumbling. They're so far away from their spawn. Vasily's going to try and bring it through. The emergency Graviton coming down, and everyone's liquefied by the hammer of Christopher. Mono's finally got back, but his life's just going to be traded for seconds. It's not a great time to be Mono at the moment.
Not really. He's taking a single route, and that single route is towards death at the moment. Kodak is back up to that Coalescence now. Christopher 66%, but we know that you get about 7% per Fire Strike, so we'll be up to Molfig to eat all of those. Doesn't want to get Christopher up to his Shadow before Nerf does.
Attempting to waylay them early. Round the back, it's for Need for Speed coming through, and it's straight on top of Christopher's head, blown away, liquefied within his armor. It's a grim sight to see the bullied Reinhardt, but now 6nakes can't move forward because they cannot resurrect, of course. They don't have a Mercy in the field, and Christopher's just respawned. 10 seconds gained there for Team Singularity in exchange for File's ultimate. I'd say that's a pretty good trade here for 6nakes.
Yeah, 6nakes are going to come back in hot with the sound barrier and the Coalescence on top of it. Christopher back in the trap once again, and now they'll be moving forward. Need to have this aggression, it needs to come out now, but the Transcendence is going to extend out the fight a little bit longer, and Christopher goes down early.
There goes the Graviton Surge, laid down the second, but Lind's Transcendence finished. Great timing there from Vasility, but it does look like it is going to be Team Singularity winning out. Nerfed really the hero, in fact, just swinging into the midst of 6nakes, and he's earned himself yet another Earth Shadow. Not only that, but Obling's almost got the Graviton Surge as well. Things aren't looking good for 6nakes here.
Nerf is playing extremely well at the moment. Much more defensive and calculated than Christopher's at the moment, and that fight pretty much went down solely because he fell with Earth Shadow in the pocket.
Asking's a little bit too far forward here, and Fall's going to be in the back. You can't turn around and take that out with a flail, I'm afraid. Christopher and Cave going to be laid on down. Asking's lost his shield. And now Obling's just going to be farming the Graviton Surge and farming the energy as well. He's sitting at 50 at the moment, and It's looking incredibly difficult for Team Singularity to move into this defense. 3 tank ultimates remain here for Team Singularity, and Mono's almost got the Valkyrie.
The way that Team Singularity have been cycling that ult has been insane, and there's the combo. Through goes the charge, and Christopher's down once again, not able to drop the hammer yet. And Nerf just holds on to the Earth Shadow for good measure, and Mono will probably drop this Valkyrie as they come on in the next fight.
You don't need the Earth Shadow there. Nerf's part was to remove the shield of Christopher. That's exactly what he did with the charge. There was no way to stop him, and that meant there was no shield to stop Team Singularity and their self-destruct. But now surging forward, 4 ults in the bank, almost 5. Nerf lays down the Earth Shadow. It doesn't look like it's got much at all. Cave manages to catch the charge. He's going to avoid liquefaction for now. Nerf is so low. There's a lot of healing in his back, but he can't resist the coalescence. All the kills are going the way of the snakes. Obling stands between the payload and progress, but he's just going to be trading his body for seconds here. Overtime is in session.
Now they've got to twist their body around Team Singularity, and they've got to really put on the pressure now. Squeeze them all the way to this third point. If they can't take it, then they get it as far as they can. Facility now has the Graviton, though, ready to use it at a moment's notice. Going to be dropping behind these guys. No Diva Matrix to stop it.
And there goes the shield. It was charged into the back by Christopher, but there was no self-destruct to try and make it work. In from the top, and it's going to get nerfed. He dropped his shield at the wrong time. Mono's going to go in for a resurrection. The Facility's going to shut it down, burn the Angel out of the air, and Christopher's going to lay down the Earth Shadow. That's 2 down on the floor, and a follow-through may well be there. Fall still playing out of a cove for Rat in the cage right now, but he's taken out. The Rat Poison has been deployed in the form of some snake venom, and the snakes are going to claim King's Right.
What a performance from 6nakes. So they push all the way through the last point there. Foul played extremely well to hold on to this one for so long, playing around those small little alleyways. As we know, nothing really damages anymore for his own kit. It used to. That was super unfortunate, but now he can play within these closed corridors. Team Singularity, God, your morale's going to be down after that one. After holding so valiantly for so long on Streets phase, and then finally losing out, and 6nakes pushing all the way around to the third point with only overtime as they turn around the first corner.
They do have a workable win condition though, Blank. If they can get more than a minute on the clock when they finish, they will have a free extra attack here to only claim 33% on the first point, but easier said than done, let's say that much.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how 6nakes play this one out, because the typical play here is to have the Arista spam comp and play it so they can't get this huge tank lineup on the point. It looks like 6nakes, they're going to take Team Singularity head on. Morphic goes over the Winston now though, so Nerf and Winston, so you have the Reinhardt, 2 main tanks. There's not going to be too much protection for Morphic as he goes in, unless Mono jumps up with him and Foul moves on forward. But typically you want to keep your Brigida with your Reinhardt and play around there. So I'd be interested to see where Morphic goes now.
No doubt this is going to be about trying to contain asking on the Widowmaker if it comes to pass. Well, I imagine what's actually going to happen here is he's just going to drop down the bubble shield for Obling so that he can get a free shot off in relative safety, and then he's going to go off and swap likely to the Zarya.
I like that they've determined that Obling here might need some extra help. So the Winston shield is going to be useful in this case. So the free shot, but decides not to take it, instead drop down below. Obling switches over to that classic that he has on Zarya. Morphic now on the Diva. They will be head-to-head here. 2 headbutts. Who will fall first? Who will feel the concussion in this case?
Once again, 3-2-1 from the Snakes in there. So speed boost moving straight forward. Nerf swinging for the fence. This question is, will he be able to build up that ult quickly? Position on the point has been attained by Team Singularity, and they're quickly building up to a tick there. So first, you only need 3 attacks like this to claim the point. So 6nakes need to get in there quickly and try and claim some actual time on this point. There's a second tick, Blank.
Christopher lays it down in this fight. No, be Team Singularity taking this one as convincingly as 6nakes did in the first point. So now it will be 6nakes continuing on tradition that Team Singularity has just set in the last round. They need to hold here for a very long time. 5 minutes and 43 grueling minutes. They need to hold out.
And look at how far forward Team Singularity are now, then getting the double kill with the Coalescence. Support says who? And all of 6nakes are going to be so far back now when they have their respawns, and Team Singularity can hold up close. Cave just needs to stay Oh no, who is on the payload right now? Mono? Mono's probably on the payload, right?
Mono chilling back. Yeah, just skating around, doing some dance moves, playing some sweet tunes as he comes around the corner. I mean, the moment Kring's Row is pretty silent from all the massacring of all the Omnics. I mean, he kind of wants some sweet tunes on your way around. 6nakes, they have Kodak with the Coalescence, but a back! Earthshatter takes down tons!
Nerfed is a very sneaky beaver, and he's proven it right there. Dismantled are the snakes laid down on the ground. The follow-up there was so good. There was split targeting from Team Singularity. I think Lind and Molfig went onto Cave, whereas Kodak got the charge from Nerf. They knew exactly who they were going to take out, because they were right at the periphery of the hitbox of the Earthshadow. It was a really risky move, but it meant that it would be so much harder to try and defend it from the side of Christopher.
I mean, Nerf just put on his ninja bandana, went around the side there. There's the self-destruct, and it doesn't matter, they didn't get anyone. It pushed them off the point, and they quickly take this street space. And they've got all the time in the world. I mean, not quite, but it is 6 minutes. That's ridiculous, especially for King's Row, to push around the third point. And already they're set up proactively on the point.
Basically 6 minutes, and they've already got past what was the main sticking point here for 6nakes on their own attack. Obling building up towards the energy. Now he's going to give Lind the shield. Moving forward, he can potentially run his way into this Graviton Surge. I'm not sure if you want to be staying there, though. In comes Christopher with the charge. Nerf turned into a twisted metal salad on the wall. And there's going to be a quick reset there from Molfig. 6nakes finally have their defensive foothold, and they're going to be able to hold in the same place where Team Singularity waylaid them now, but such a big ult bank here for Singularity.
Finally able to use some ults, so you don't have Nerf coming around the back with an Earthshatter. Again, this is going to be up to Christopher. Will he change his playstyle? Will he be more defensive? Will he be able to block these Earthshatters? Out comes the Riptide, and immediately Team Singularity are backing up. And it will be Asking's Tire taking down Nerf. Now the rally comes in, knowing there's nothing to stop them.
He's a strong, independent Reinhardt that doesn't need no hit scan. He's ready to lay down the hammer at a moment's notice. He's got to try and outgame Christopher here. Everyone's going down, though. But there was the Zarya shield, saving Nerf from the effects of the shadow. Great play there from Molfig to save him from that, or from Obling, pardon me. And now Visility stuck up in the air with the hook shot and the boot. Let's go. Hook shot? The flail. The whip flail?
Whip shot. Yeah, you were halfway there, and then you were halfway again. And it looks like it will be 6nakes who are no longer halfway there. Team Singularity making their way onto the point.
And now Mono's going to take it out, giving a tire to Knights. I didn't know that they can have auditory conditions like that. Christopher laid down, and Nerf's trying to lay down the hammer as well, but didn't quite pick anyone up. There goes the charge, but he's going to miss all of the supports, and now Nerf could be in a poor position. Asking, trying his best to lay down the damage here, but Junkrat and Christopher's going to outrun his counterpart. But they've got to stay on the car. It's so close to completion now. We're still 3 minutes on the clock. It's rally versus rally. Everyone on the car. The Team Singularity, they're spawning so far away. They need to stay on the car. Are 6nakes, but they're falling one by one. Asking's down. No one's on the car. Get back on there. It's going to be Kodak with the fade away. But everyone else faded away there. Team Singularity. They're going to bring this one through. And like I said, now they get a free attack on the first one. They need to claim 33%. And 6nakes gave away 33% so easily last time.
Now, like you said, like they have a free chance. That last fight, they removed Christopher from the fight. Nerf was gone there. Nerf went down first, and it was all down to Mono and Asking to pull them off from that fight. The whip shot sending Christopher to an early grave as well was pretty unfortunate. But now Team Singularity can go ahead. They have 3 minutes 28. They took the last one in around about 15 seconds. Well, we'll have to see how this one goes down. 6nakes, they're going to really have to work hard for this one like that.
Nerfed is coming into his own right here, my friend. He's putting on a masterclass in Ryan right now, and I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really expect it.
No, not at all. I mean, it's been actually rather funny because our hype for the Earthshatters has slowly decreased because they're so consistent.
Yeah, so oh my god, that's a huge shadow. Oh, another huge shadow.
There's another one. Come on, Nerf. I mean, at least miss one so he can get happy about the next 6-man you hit. Christopher is going to have to really pull his game here. And even more so, he's not being able to block the shadows of Reinhardt. Now he has to block them as the Winston shield, which is arguably very much more difficult.
And very little health is available here for 6nakes. They're going for a triple DPS, but they've got to stay on the point, and they gave it away so easily last time with this much health. Who's going to go down and consist? It's going to be Hager from the top. He's got his eyes right now on Lind, and that was the main target they had to take out. But look at how much progress has been accrued already. They need to stay on this point with so little health, and it looks like it's going to be incredibly hard to do that, flying a bit low there. Maybe a res coming through from Cave. He's just ducking in and out, trying to keep the single destination. Great movement there, but it's going to be all for naught. There was no tank available to stay on the point because Christopher had to go in, sacrifice 500 health, and he had no defense for himself, and just demolished so quickly. And what a great performance from Singularity on King's Row. And we can see exactly why they decided to play this map. And of course it was their choice because of the loss of Lijiang Tower.
I don't understand why you'd play dive on defense into tank. It was so obvious that Singularity were going to pull it out. But we'll let the desk break this one down a little bit more as we throw it to them now. Take it away, Lemon Kiwi.
We are back on the desk, and this won't be for Overwatch. We got a tie series, boys, and what a surprise we saw on King's Row. But I want to have a quick touch on the night market final map for map 1, which ended in Snakes' favor 100 to 34 for a 2-1 win for them, where Singularity did switch to dive, and it looked really good for them, Des, but man, could they have executed that better?
Yeah, and this is the woe of Singularity again. I think I've said it so many times today, it's almost becoming a tired point now, is that these guys will fall back to running that dive when there's not really any other answer that they've got. And we said it ourselves. There's a couple of times where it looked great at moments. The one problem they had, and the one thing they constantly had to face up against, was Kodak on that Zenyatta. The guy was a machine. In some of those fights, he was walking away with 3 or 4 final blows, just cleaning people up from range. They never really gave them the opportunity to actually get in there and use dive to its full effect. And perhaps most impressively, we spoke a lot about Facility and saying, okay, we know that he's quite a flexible player. What's he going to go on to? Once he picked up the Brigitte for himself and let Askin go across onto the Soldier, there was just nothing Singularity could do. And Askin was just basically completely protected in the back line to sit there and do whatever he wanted to realistically. And that ultimately is how Snakes managed to clean it up.
Yeah, and if you're Snakes, you definitely, Asking's the player that you giving all that space to, right? He's like your star man. He's the person that is going to either, bring you to the, that's going to bring you to the win rather. So giving him all of that space, especially on Soldier, where you can just consistently pump out so much damage. And even if you are going to get dove on as Soldier, you have the Brigitte next to you. You have like a Mercy, you have a Zen that are just keeping you alive. So I love the pick coming out there from Asking and the rest of Snakes, pick a kind of sort of a counter divey champion against like the full dive where, Soldier, a lot of sustainability by himself and by the supports that they had with him.
Now let's transition to King's Row with what a surprise. What a performance from Singularity. Like, are you kidding me? Like, already an overtime push.
It didn't look like the same team.
No. And let's talk about the Junkrats to start and Brigittas. What do you guys want to mention here? Asking and fall on the Junkrats. You got Brigittas from both sides. What stood out to you? Let's start with you, Kenobi.
What stood out to me was, the way that the second part of King's Row went for the side of Team Singularity. I mean, they completely rushed onto the point, bodied Snakes off the point completely, Asking on Widow. Very difficult job for him as he's just, up on the top, taking pot shots down. No one's dying, so it's basically a 5v6 on the ground, unfortunately. And then the way they were just able to push their advantage, sometimes team would just, stay on the cart, but no, Singularity just played that aggressive style. They ran up all the way to third point, hit all their ultimates, just kept them back so far. And I love to see that aggressive play coming out from Singularity. And I think that's what they need to probably take this series, is that they need that aggressive play, hit Snakes a little bit in the mouth of it, just, get them down, make sure that they're feeling, not as comfortable and they can't play that, like team fight style that they seem to be so good at playing.
It's great because at the end of Contenders finals last year, well, not last year, a few months ago, in fact, we all sat there and there was a bit of a meme rolling around, one last ride, and everyone was like, Quad Tank is going to die out. It's going to be the end of an era. However, we're now seeing the transition to 3.5 tank where you've got a Brigitte basically steamrolling. And Kenobi touched on it really nicely in saying that it was a 5v6 on the ground and Asking could pick out no one because there's just this big mass of shields and defense matrices, and there's just no way of getting around that, I think. And ultimately, them getting pushed all the way back to third, and the ingenious shatter as well that came out of Nerf.
Oh, that's so good.
Beautiful stuff. And that's the creative play that Singularity have got to bring out to upset a team who some would definitely pin down as the favorites here, but they're stacking up against them incredibly well. Going into the overtime round with 3.5 minutes, Snakes were never going to be able to hold that, I think, with how well it seems that Singularity are at playing this 3.5 tank composition. I want to see more of it on the next 2 maps. I know we're going to Hanamura. There's a great time to bring it out there. We saw so much quad tank on the first point.
So Kenobi, Hanamura coming up, and this will favor the snipers, where we saw Obling maybe struggle a little bit on that role. He's seen him shine so much better on for either off tank as Zarya, or we'll see him do pretty well on Genji. So what do you expect? Do you think Singularity will struggle on Hanamura because of their snipers being their weakest pillar?
Well, we talked about it with like King's Row, is that if they're playing this, this death ball composition where the health bars are just so high and there's the shields and fence matrix, it's going to be very hard for Asking to deal with that. It is possible if you're able to get a couple of picks, when they come onto the point on Hanamura A, but I think if you're Singularity, with the way King's Row just went, I don't think you change anything. I think you just run the same thing. You push onto the point, body Snakes off of it, because it seems like after that they got a little bit frazzled, and especially on Hanamura, it's one of those maps where you can win point A just like that, and then you run and just take point B in like 6.5 minutes. So I think, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Just keep playing what you're doing right now. It seems to work very well against Snakes.
It's almost like you're inside my head and literally picking out every single word I wanted to say about this match, because it feels that way, right? We saw it last Contender season. We've seen it even before that, where quad tank on first point Hanamura just rolls it, takes it. No one can do a thing about it. Biggest concern for me for Singularity is that second point. We see a lot of soldier-based compositions, getting soldiers on the high ground and making use of the defensive capabilities you have up there, in that you force the other team to play dive to get onto you. It's very hard to force you off. That's where I think Snakes are going to have a great time, because they'll run that soldier up on the high ground and he will just pick people off. We've already seen what he can do when he's given some cover. So there's almost a first point in favor of Singularity here, and a second point in favor of Snakes. So I'm really curious to see how they work around cracking the other point that they're not particularly strong on.
Well, I like that Asking has options. If he's not feeling the Widow, then he'll go on the Soldier, which he's very capable of. While as Obling, Widow, and then to what is the big question mark? And I feel like the way Singularity played King's Row, they snowballed that. So will this be the same scenario going into Hanamura? But last thought, Des, Hanamura, what's your prediction? I want to hear quick predictions. We're in a 1-1 series. Where's it going?
Singularity try and quad tank it to death. If they don't manage to quad tank second point after kind of the momentum with the first push, they're not going to win it. If Snakes manage to get a first point winning and push to second with Asking on the Soldier, they'll probably take this map away.
Comprehensive. I love it. Kenobi, how about you?
I'm not really sure what makes me think that Snakes is going to win this map. I just have a little bit of a feeling.
Man.
I just have a little bit of I don't know what it is. I just have a little bit of a feeling that, Snakes is going to take this series and take the map. I think they're just playing so well. There's one player, doesn't matter that he's French, but he's really, really good. His name is Asking, and I think he's going to be the one to push this through.
All right, it's the Battle of Denmark and France in map 3. We're going to Hanamura. Blank and the leg day, take us away with the action.
French flag being renamed now to the Asking flag, apparently, from Kenobi, and some wonderful nationalism coming out of him, the American, just vive la Francing. Is that a verb? Can we make that a verb?
That could be a thing. We'll hyphenate in the middle, and we'll just have it all one big chunky verb, and it'll be fine. It'll be fine here.
Is it a chunky verb?
They need it. 6nakes need it. I mean, Team Singularity, they're huge on this dive at the moment. Huge on the tanks. I'm pushing you through to Hanamura. This is one of the points where if you can force your way in, like Team Singularity have been doing so far, they can easily take this one.
Team Singularity are, however, going to be going for the dive, not the tank that was expected out of Desitu and Kenobi just yet. They're going to be going back to the, well, I would say the tried and true, but the tried.
They definitely tried. It didn't work in their favor. Nice Winter Shield there will prevent a lot of the damage coming down from the Pharah in the sky, so Heiko's going to have to back off a little bit. They do not want him building up that barrage too quickly in these enclosed spaces. Already taking a lot of damage, Far will fall.
Great accuracy there from Vigility, taking out Far while he was skulking around the point. Numboff is going to be under pressure as well. Asking, winning out the Widow duel, and Lin's going to be joining him. Now they can just hunt down the Gorilla. Mono trying his best to kill me, he says, bringing out the pistol, or I'll make you kill me.
So it's a battle of the flintlock pistol or the Widow's Kiss sniper. Highly technological compared to the Caduceus blaster. So that's good. We'll see how Prophet Desitu's prophecies come true here. Will Team Singularity not able to get a point now that 6nakes have rebuffed them and built up to a few more ultimates? Christopher on the floor at the moment doesn't jump up just yet, hoping to find some of these stragglers in the background.
Mono's under so much pressure here, but it's not like Lin's going to be able to heal him up. There's pressure on a point likely coming through from Fall, but Fall is just going to be falling as well. Very pathetic name that he's chosen for himself right there. Watch out for gravity, my son. You can't time travel out of that. Time doesn't happen in the gravity well, and Obling's going to be falling to Asking, and I think this one's all over for Team Singularity.
I think you got to pull out your notebook as Obling at this point and just go, Asking is probably a better winner than me. Maybe I pick Genji at this point. It's not working. He's shown us that he can play Genji to a pretty high standard. So there we go. Switches off over to the Genji now. I'm going to aggravate the background with Nerfed and Molfig as a team. So far, they've been playing pretty decently, and I'll be up to this Primal Rage that comes out. How can he harass this backline? Can he provide the space for his DPS?
Well, half of the time has elapsed for Team Singularity. You got to wonder at what point they may decide to go over to tanks, because at the moment it doesn't look like Dai was working out for them. We're going to give it a try with the Genji instead. Moving forward for Valkyrie, that's a whole lot of healing going forward, and Nerf's going to be taking out Asking. That's a great start, but he can't quite pop the Primal Rage in time, but Resurrection is there from Mono, and there's the self-destruct. They're putting everything they have into this. Hay goes out over the gorge, trying to lay in the rockets from below. He's got his eyes on Fal, and Fal's fallen low as well, but the recall is there, and Kodak brings out the Transcendence, but it's got no one to heal up. It's going to have to try and stay on the outside of his bubble. Cave's fallen down. That may well spell the end of the 6nakes defense here. Nerf's there with the Primal Rage, but I think it's just going to ward away any spawners as Team Singularity seem poised to claim point A.
There is so much to break down in that single fight. I don't think I can touch it all now, but immediately we see the Transcendence come out. Mono can get the Res out because he can out-heal the barrage in the skies. They get back inwards, and it was Nerfed who came back in clutch with the quick Winston bubble to prevent any more damage coming onto his team. It was so clean, so coordinated. They have to do the same here. Now they have the Dragon Blade, don't need to dash through, and they're on the top ground. Slice and dice, it is time to go.
The Dragon Blade is in hand, and the damage boost will be as well. He makes a quick dash down. Asking is down as well, but Christopher's going to be giving him the Tesla treatment, just racking his nerve. He's going to be grunting and groaning like an anime character trying to make a decision, and the decision right here for Team Singularity, they got to get the hell out.
I mean, Mono jumping in, Fal again, please kill me. But they remain on the point, and they're still going this. Facility dropping very low now, 57. He also drops to the high of the below ground now. Has a little bit of extra armor. He's going to try catch Lin as he levitates on out of there.
Yeah, Lin's just going to float for his life right now. Facility's going to back off. Doesn't want to get picked early. And Team Singularity, I think, stayed in that fight for far too long.
Yeah, it was a bit of an over-investment. I think for some reason they felt like they could do this. They had the anime screams
we
come
can
out
do
from
this.
Dragon Ball. Rainbows all across the sky, but now it's not all rainbows for Team Singularity as the Tesla cannon is in full effect onto the Intended team. Lin has to drop the Transcendence now.
Yeah, but Obling's out on his own with a Discord orb. He's going to get taken out early. Great target selection there from Snakes to find the one person who was out of place. There's going to be a Resurrection coming through from Mono, but now Kodak can come in with his own Transcendence, Asking, raining down from the sky. Everyone on this team can play Pharah.
Everyone. There's not a single person that can't play it. This seems to be their signature hero. It feels like it's a bunch of friends who all play Pharah like, shall we make a team maybe? And it's working out so far.
100% Pharah main density coming through from the Snakes.
They're just taking turns at this point.
Mono shopping over.
Pharah next?
No longer wants to be playing on the all-important Mercy. No Resurrections are going to be available. Instead, Speed is going to be the name of the game here for Team Singularity, and Fal's going to be wrapping that up as well. No longer wants to play on Robert Eater. Instead, back over to the Tracer. He's going to be moving on to a point, as you can see, already there is a rocket to his face. Damage boosted rocket will one-shot a Tracer, and Team Singularity are out of dodge so quickly.
They went in, didn't like what they saw. They left. That was not the shot that they wanted to go into after all. And what we're seeing here is Nerfed is very used to the Rhine on Rhine battles. He knows the mind games, he knows how to play it, but now he's up against all this spam. Asking is making these barrages happen so often. He seems a little bit stuck. Now it's Molfig having to pick up the slack on the Diva.
And there's the slack being picked up by Asking instead. Obling and Lin falling victims of the weather. They weren't ready for the storm. They should have bought an umbrella. Oh, that rhymed.
Yeah, it was pretty decent actually, not gonna lie. You should maybe change careers from caster to poet, maybe.
I am now doing slam poetry.
Slam poetry indeed, as we shout about these teams coming into Hanamura. It's a very poetic map as well, as with the blossoms in the background. Morphic, self-destruct now, engaged. Has to be a big one. What he really needs to find is either Asking or Cave in the sky. Once they get rid of those, this team can focus more on Facility in the background. But already a Riptide is now there, as well as a Primal Rage, if things get hairy like the monkey himself.
And if Lin pops the Coalescence, he isn't going to be able to move away from that tile with a fade, so the second that goes out, will likely be the main target. Instead, he's going to potentially try and go for a D-Mech there. In goes to Graviton Surge, dragging everyone towards the self-destruct, but it isn't going to work out. Oberlin's got so much charge now, and Kodak's trying to keep this in contestation. He's got the Transcendence on a point. Christopher's there as well. He's got the Primal Rage should it be required, but for now he's got the healing, and it may well be that Team Singularity just don't have the men to fight this one out. Lin's going to eventually fall, and 6nakes just going to win this one by value of attrition and by how much healing they can get out of Cave's Valkyrie.
Yeah, and there's a very long time ago, it was Mono, the Lucio, his area of effect healing was reduced, so no longer carries so far out, and that's really important when you go up against a Winston. You only have Lucio as a healer, is that the Winston can just focus down targets so easily, and there's not enough healing to go around for everyone. And sharing is caring in this case, but Mono can't give healing to everyone. There's the trap!
Oh, midway through the cast! Facility says no, he's turning it down. We've received a noise complaint. Christopher pops himself a Primal Rage, but one after another, Team Singularity are falling. There was never a chance. Asking is looking for fun. You can see him there under the bridge. He's ducking around. He's got himself a health pack, but he's under so much pressure, has to pick himself up another 10 seconds on the clock. And they know exactly where he is. In go the bombs. Come on, Foul. You can do this. All for one and one for all. Just don't dash into a trap. He gets the stick onto Christopher. That's a good way to start it, but Lin's already down. Foul blown away too.
Explosive finish to Hanamura here. Snakes holding out strong, Asking, Facility, Heiko, the bombs finish this one out in a huge firework display.
And they are 0% accrued on point B for Team Singularity, and I wonder if this was more of a pick for Snakes as to whether they are good at the map or they know Singularity aren't great at it. Because for now, it just looks like they are fantastic at this map. But it can be that you sort of try and outmind game an opponent, you do your research, you figure out where they're less effective.
This feels like we're more playing a fighting game at this point, because the way it's been working at the moment is 6nakes, they've taken a few hits here and there. Team Singularity, they've got a little bit forward, but now 6nakes, they've started to understand Team Singularity's play style, and now they're throwing back the counter punches. They played extremely well. I'd be interested in how they play this attack. It's probably going to be Asking on top of the Widow, of course. Cave switches over to the Genji, so you can have this back line damage. I'm going to open up these sight lines for Asking. And if you can find at least one of the supports, I know that Christopher and Heiko, they can find those kills on the Diva and the Winston.
I'm not going to lie, Blank. I think you've been debated.
Have I been debated?
I think Cave's probably going to be playing support here as he's the main support player. He's just probably having a bit of parkour around.
I've been hugely debated. Man, how dare he? How dare he mistake me with his name? It will be Vasily on Tracer instead. I do apologize, guys. Instead, we will be seeing a Tracer being a mosquito harassing the backline. It's just as fine, though. Still a finished target. We'll go to the backline and pick up those final kills. Asking, of course, doesn't always have to find those headshots. 120 damage and a clip from Vasily will do the trick just fine.
Indeed he is, and Cave, I imagine he's going to move over to the Widowmaker here to try and pocket Ask and give him those damage boosted shots, ensure that he can remove people a little bit more quickly than he otherwise would be. Of course, Kodak laying down the Discord orb as well can mean that tanks are incredibly vulnerable here. But Christopher, he is going to have Heiko on the Diva. Cave? Is Cave actually not swapping? Oh no, there it is. Okay, you were debated, but I almost fell for it as well.
I almost felt very, very good about myself for a second, and then Cave took it all away, and now I really just want to go into a cave and just live out my days in that. Val finds the quick kill on the Vasily. I mean, that concussion mine with a couple of nades on top of it, especially these damage boosts, extra 30%, will just immediately damage and destroy a small Tracer, only 150 HP in the pool. Now, the thing is, though, is Obling is fighting against Asking, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Finds the shot. That's going to open so much now. Asking to shoot these shots onto the tank line. There's nothing they can do about it. Finds Foul as well as he needs to go in now.
They absolutely do. Falls down, but Mono's going to bring him back in. That's a very dangerous flight, my friend, right into the jaws of a waiting spider. And look at that, Kodak picking up a double kill to finish it off, and some nice parkour going on there from Asking. Who says Genji's the only one who can do that? Already the first point captured here by Snakes. They showed immense patience there, and Opening, he decided to challenge out Asking in an avenue where Asking had 2 tanks to protect him. Question marks?
Position there, yeah, question marks, wondering what's going on, and now potentially be Asking setting up that web, waiting for these supports to jump into it, and then he can crawl on up there and take them down. He can see actual mercy damage there, so he knows pretty much where people are at the moment. Files finds Facility though, so 6nakes they're going to ramp it back out now.
The trap was sprung by Farl, and Vidility fell into it in short order. Lin taking a little bit of extra damage there. He's going to hide behind the pillar, but Asking is eventually going to win this one out. They're trying to chase down Obling here on the Genji, but Christopher's going to miss the leap, or maybe it was just a warning leap, just making sure that he knew whose territory this was.
Look how high I can go. Don't come up here. There's nothing for you here. They only need to take 1/3 though, and they have 6 minutes to do it. It's not a tall order. Molfik has a self-destruct though. In goes Heiko's on top of the shield, but it will block them off the point. And now Christopher knows he has to drop on the point, put the pressure there. They have to come back onto it.
33% is all the leeway that they have. Christopher from the back has a primary, should it be required? Opening gets a reflect there, and now he's going in for a closer range fight against Asking, who's only got 58 HP out of left field. Will be the Diva, and that'll give Opening the distraction he needs to secure the kill. And Cave's going to have to get out of dodge along with Kodak. You can't reflect the Tesla, my friend, just keep back.
Just like Kodak, it's a pretty cheap camera, and that was a cheap fight for the side team Singularity. They're holding on to a lot of their ultimates here, which is near rebuff 6nakes again. But like I was saying, there's 5 minutes. You got to do this a few more times, Singularity. If they can do it, it will be extremely, extremely hilarious. At the moment, 6nakes, they're putting a performance which is difficult to contend with.
Both Primal Rages are ready to go, but of course it's going to be very difficult for Nerf to lay down the damage, or rather it's going to be very difficult for Christopher to lay down the damage on all of this armor that Farl has given him. Resility's still a long way from that rally, because he only just swapped. Obling laying in the shurikens, but Christopher's gone deep now. He wants to get onto Lin, but he's not going to be doing much damage against the armor, as we said before. He's going to have to potentially pop the Primal Rage if he can't make the disengagement. There he is, leaping his way through Obling. Move out of the way, I've had enough.
Lin still retains a lot of the armor on him as well, so Christopher wasn't able to put in the damage that he wanted to, and he has a Transcendence also. If things start to go in the favor of 6nakes, they can possibly drop the Transcendence with the Dragon Blade to make sure the damage does go through. But Kodak moving on up to that Transcendence at 80%.
So Obling here is talking to his tanks. He wants to make sure that the shield bash will be used before he goes in with the all-important blade. He's got his eyes now on Asking, who's here with the tactical visor, and Nerf's gone down. This may well be time to make the dive with the blade. It's come out from the side of Obling shortly. There it is. He's got his eyes on 2 players, but he's quickly going to have to duck away to get himself a health back. He's going to re-enter afterwards, but it's all about Facility on the point with a Brigitte. They've only got 1 tick to give. Down comes the self-destruct that's going to claim Asking. Molfik's going to be the hero there, and here come the emergency respawns. It's Rock'em Sock'em robot time, because the Doomfist is out from Mono. Emergency mode engaged. He's going to be taken down before he can charge the punch. They're almost there to get the tick. Lin's going to go down as well on the emergency Ana. Nerf is here, but he isn't going to be there for long. And Snakes, dominance on Hanamura.
Mono came out with a fist, but it'll be 6nakes. Finishes this round out with around about 4 minutes to go. Another convincing victory, but from the other team now. Singularity had their win on King's Row. Now 6nakes will pull this one back. And we got 2 minutes 21 on the clock, so we can have a very quick talk about that game like that, can't we?
Obling was very late with that blade, it felt like. I think he was weighing up his options there, but with Facility on the point, you didn't have to worry about the shield bash, and that was your main threat when you were going in with the blade. I know Asking had the tactical visor out as well, but in terms of DPS, you will win out as for Genji going up against the tactical visor, as far as I'm aware. Maybe.
You do actually win that fight. It's 120, and then you get the dash in as well as you most likely, especially because Asking was quite low at the time as well as he would have won that fight out hands down. He has a deflect as well. I mean, he'll push all the bullets back into him. Might not hit them, but he definitely doesn't take the damage from them. And you can always cancel the deflect with the dash anyway.
Or a wall climb.
So there's so many options from that situation, and that's the thing with Genji. You can't be making these decisions in your head. You can't calculate them up. They have to be on the fly. They have to happen there and then. And like you said, it came out too late. He'd already come out the side, and Facility just cleaned up the rest of the team on the Brigida, on the point, and it's so much more difficult to get onto it. And as soon as the stall came out, you see the stall. It's nothing short of a miracle if you can pull it back at that point, especially against a team like 6nakes.
They're very miraculous, and there was a dream from Mono trying to take advantage of those one-shot kills you can get with Doomfist Rocket Punch into a wall. Unfortunately, it was not to be. He was cut down in his prime, despite the attempts of the defense matrix from Molfig to save him. And Lind came out on emergency Ana, which I don't think is great for stalling. I think it would have been very good to swap to that earlier.
It has potential, and it is one of those picks you swap earlier as soon as the team comes in, because if you play it right, you get all this ultimate charge towards the Ana boost. You Ana boost the Winston, it prevents the push in its tracks, and you have time to build up the rest of ultimates as the team cleans and finishes the rest of the team out. But there for the stall, the best bet you have is it prevents the rally, the passive coming out from the Brick Eater, and even that's not a lot of healing. It's around 30 HP, 15 HP per second. I think it's a 30-meter radius.
Yeah, not a huge. I think for Inspire it's a 20-meter radius.
Yeah, so it's hardly anything at all. I mean, at best, all it does is you find a barrett grenade onto maybe 2 of the players, and nothing happens after that. We are back onto the coming soon screen, so we're not sure how long it's going to take, so we can throw this back to the desk, see if they have anything more to say about Hanamura. I'd like to see how Desertu weighs this one up, considering he thought they were going to the tanks. We're not going back to desk. I've been told by the producer that we're going straight into the game. 1 minute 17, we can continue to ramble on.
Why don't we say what the map is, Blank?
Well, you know what? We can say what the map is. Do you want to take this one like that?
Yes, we're going out to the Midwest, or at least I assume it's the Midwest. It's Route 66 is what it is. It's our escort map for today. And of course, that will be the choice of Singularity. And we've seen that when Singularity pick a map, they very much dominate on that map. As we saw with King's Row, they really know exactly what they want to play with. And I think that Route 66 is a very variable map. You can play a lot more divey here because of how prevalent high ground is to the first and second point defenses. But you can also just try and rush it through with tanks if you're so inclined. You can actually make the jump with Reinhardt from the car onto Big O's, even if you don't have Lucio speed boost. So maybe you can take advantage of that tech, but first you got to get there, and you take a whole lot of damage doing so. I want to see if we get a triple DPS defense here from 6nakes. I'd love to see the Sombra come out from Facility, because of course Route 66 one of the best Sombra maps in the game with those 2 health packs on point A.
Yeah, but they're not as effective anymore, considering now they don't give ult percentage, they don't give that ult charge anymore. But it still is a great map for Sombra indeed, because you have so many avenues of attack that you can take. And hacking a Reinhardt from the top of the gas station, it can put a real dent in the push coming out from the attacking team. But again, I love to see Singularity take advantage of their incredible tank play so far on this particular map, especially. You can create so much space for nerfs if you just drop the hammer down. But they'll be on defense first, so you're definitely going to see Orisa in this case.
Okay, Team Singularity once again bringing out that the defense that was... How effective was it on King's Row? It was pretty effective as far as I can remember. No, it wasn't actually. Asking dismantled them, I forgot that they basically got rolled on point A, and then point B and C was where Singularity really came into their stride. So, question is, do Team Singularity have a better idea of what they want to do here? You can contest a payload from on top of Big L's with Orisa if you are so inclined.
In this situation versus a spam comp like this, playing dive, the 6nakes at the moment, they're very happy to do that. Will quickly counter Team Singularity's position on the top side, but Obling finds Cave, and there's no res for Cave because he is the res.
Can't res yourself. That would be that'd be pretty unbalanced. Or would it? No, it would be pretty unbalanced.
like they theory crafting. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Oh,
Facility ducking under the gas station now. He's trying to be a little bit of a sneaky beaver. Going to climb up the side. He's going to try and get an angle here on Asking, but Asking has moved all the way to the back so that he knows where. Obling will know where Vasily is coming from. I'm mixing up my Widowmaker's flank, but Obling isn't. He knows exactly where he's shooting.
Obling finds Asking in this case. Look at Vasily to do a lot of the damage onto this high ground. He needs to continue to pressure it, but with those shurikens, they don't do a huge amount of spread damage. So it'll be up to the rest of the team to continue to push this on. If
what a great knockback!
It would not drop down.
That was so good. It was actually Heiko coming through from the back, knocking Nerf onto a payload so he couldn't get back up. Great play there from Mediva, but the defense is going to come through. Here comes the Blade, though. He's drawing out a Saber, 1,000 folded steel versus the might of a self-destruct, still evaporated, but not before claiming 2 kills for himself. Vasily going to be claiming that point as well. Kodak's going to grab Mono out of the Valkyrie, grab her out of the air. But 6nakes still making progress.
Did Kodak kick or not kick that moth down? I mean, usually you catch moths with your hand, but in this case, Kodak's doing a great job.
Well, Cave has been kicked out of the territory. Team Singularity, Lynn's finding himself in a Winston shield, not the ideal place for a Transcendence, but the remainder of his team have managed to get here. Mono's going to scare off Facility with 5 health. He's going to scarf her back for some healing. Luckily, Cave's going to be there to oblige. The question is Facility going to be swapping? Looks like that may well be the case. He's got 80. No? Okay. He's doing his laps, Blank. He's warming up those leggies.
I mean, he's Genji. He's a cyborg. I'm not sure he needs to do any more training on his legs. They're already technically set up, right? But I think he was thinking about the switch on, but it seems like the team said, remain on the Genji for the time being until you get it all back and see what you can do. Hopefully you can get something good out of it. And there's Lynn going down, so no Transcendence. Now it is time for the Dragon Blade to come out.
The shield bash has been used, so has the blade. Vasili's all got all the health he wants, but none of the targets that he wanted. It's going to be Asking on the top, is claiming the kills. And one after another, it doesn't look like the Danish side will fall before the snakes. I didn't know they could be native to Denmark. Does Denmark have snakes, Blank?
I don't believe so. I don't think that it's a thing that Denmark is known for. But I mean, they certainly don't like them. They're not used to them, right?
Oh yeah, they're definitely not used to them. Maybe it's just like an ill-fated trip to the zoo here.
Where are the snakes? They're right here. Now, 6nakes, 4 almost on the clock, and Asking coming back at the attack visor once again, which you don't get to say very often, but I like that I can say it here.
Christopher trying to make his way between the sign and building there. Think thin, my gorilla friend. Down goes to self-choke, but no one's going to be claimed here. And now Christopher's going to try and push them in. Asking, getting shut out, trying to shoot through the door, but it's closing in his face. And now he's going to get incredibly close quarters here with the heavy pulse rifle. Not the ideal range for a Soldier 76, but he does have the all-important damage boost coming through from Cave. Here comes a Valkyrie. But oh my god, what has just happened? I think he got booped back. Asking's just been bamboozled. He's been Houdini'd. He's been completely Shrek'd, and Asking with the question marks in the chat. Don't worry, buddy. I'm right there with you. Either way, Nerf's going to be picking that one up, and Asking. He's going to be incredibly confused right now.
I mean, Nerf did a 180, grabbed him, pulled him back into the church and went forward. It must have been the boot coming out from either Morphic or Mono that pushed him back there. Mono going extremely low, keeps up though, Oppoling now has the armor underneath the shield, so he's going to be a very tough target to break through.
And look at this, now Arson's going to be claiming the high ground once again. The pincer movement will be in effect, but Team Singularity, they're more than happy to just stay here in the alcove. This is usually where the attackers are, but hey, you can't move the carp over here, so we're just going to sit pretty.
It's actually very good because it's prevented a lot of the flanks coming out from Asking because he can't quite get onto it. And still, not dead yet as the Graviton comes out.
One after another, and now Asking's the lone bastion of the Snake's attack, and Nerfed. Great angle there with the fire strike, possibly caught by Asking just to reset with his team. And Facility's going to move over now to the Tracer. He may have been on that before, actually, because I think I saw a boss one.
I really do like the position coming out of Team Singularity at the moment. Just taking a singular position on the payload, not allowing 6nakes to get those Hydra heads in whatsoever, and cutting them off a single head at a time.
There's a coalescence. Lynn's going to be hunted down. He could have faded away, and both DPS were looking his way. Christopher's going to contain for the remainder of Team Singularity, who are still in this corner here. very vulnerable are these players. They're caught in a corner, but it's going to be Molfig who's letting them out. He's got the keys in his back pocket, and Christopher's going to be juiced up against the wall. I wonder if Gorilla Juice is nutritious.
60 seconds remaining.
Probably not. I mean, I wouldn't drink it like that, that's for sure. Cave, rezzing up Christopher now so he can create maybe a few more of those juices. Or maybe we can
It's going to get the
them later.
juice.
we'll have a sampling later like that, don't worry. Kodak now has the Transcendence, so this is going to stop a lot of Team Singularity's pushes back onto the payload. They can remain on a bit longer. Mono also has a sound barrier, but they'll probably use that to engage after they take this next point.
Rallying Cry has been thrown out. Christopher is remaining on the payload. Vasily managed to keep himself alive despite the shield boost. But now the sound barrier has come down from Team Singularity, and it's going to be answered. Kodak there with the Transcendence. Everyone's going to be feeling nice and tranquil on the point, but Oberlin needs to be removed the disarmor that's been applied to him. It's going to make sure that Christopher can do the full damage. Down goes the Graviton Surge, but it's just the Monkey within it, and Heiko's going to try and save him with a barrage. They're on their last legs now. Overtime succession. You got to get on the cart, boys. It's going to be Christopher who's there, and Arskin's got a mech in his face. He's got 2 tanks, and Vasili's going to be throwing out the desperate bomb. He's only got 20 HP, but he is going to find his way onto the pack here. The Kodak's coming through. He's got the D-mech and the D-life. And Vasili's going to finish this one off. Obling and Lind fall down. This may well be enough for Snakes to potentially bring it to the end.
Kodak getting sick that his DPS can't do the job that he quickly does, so he takes a snapshot of this team, and then just so he can show his friends where they were before they died. Vasily, look at this then. He's been throwing a lot of pulse bombs so far, and now he needs to build up to another one to take out these heavy runners in the front line. Nerf has the Earth Shatter, drops it down, doesn't find too many, but Cave will fall.
You know Nerf's mental process. I see Cave, I smash Cave.
He's a simple man, and he gets his simple pleasures. Down goes the Mercy,
Ooh,
and
I
pushing
don't like
back 6nakes is his name.
I don't think Christopher should have filled up there. Cave still doesn't have his support ultimate. He could have been used to farm that one up. But now Christopher is free to go forward. He's going to stay on top of the portal loop for now. The house being filled with a little bit of Gorilla Doo-Doo. And Vasili's going to get the stick there onto Molfig. That's removal of the mech. Question is Fowl going to be able to hunt him down? So 1 versus 1, and Vasily doesn't want any part in that. He's going to be ducking away as quickly as possible. Opening so high on energy, that's going to force out a recall. And we still got a rise on Vasily, but from the top it's going to be Asking with a tactical visor. No one can stand in front of his cart now. Maybe Lynn can fade away, but he isn't quite quick enough on the draw. It's going to be the Sheriff. Well, Jack Morrison could be a Sheriff, right?
I mean, he has the badges. Not quite the Sheriff, though. But he's holding down this town. It's not big enough for the 2 of us, and someone's going to fall in this fight. Which of the Titans will it be? That is the question. Will they manage to push it through to the end? 6nakes really want this if they want to take this 3-1.
Obling has to grab us on Surge in his back pocket as well. The question is, can Snakes use the Transcendence effectively to keep it in contestation? He's trying to demech Heiko to start with, so he doesn't have to worry about that all-important defense matrix. Everyone's caught within now. Down comes the self-destruct. So many people caught. Askin and Christopher blown away, and Kodak tried to save them with the Transcendence, but he gets laid down on the ground by Nerfed with that Earth Shatter. Cave flies into the waiting hammer of Nerfed as well, and the man's picking up kill after kill. It's just Christopher on the payload, looking like a whole stack, but just like a stack, all he's doing right now is feeding himself into the Snakes.
And the Snakes are happy to oblige. They will fall slowly but surely to Singularity.
Switching sides.
But it's it could have been worse, Blank. It could have been worse.
Definitely. So Route 66 one of these maps is whether it's so unexpected where anyone will ever hold. I mean, sometimes you see teams hold at the very first corner. It's possible, it has been done, and some teams hold on Street Space. It's still very, very good, especially against Team Singularity, who play so well on these tank maps where they favor with Nerfed, Obling, Molfig all in their element. For 6nakes to get so far, it's pretty good. But Team Singularity could hold them where they stand on the first point or the second, as they've shown that they can play so well.
Absolutely. 6nakes are a very good defensive team, that much is for certain. Does look like they are going to be going for the mirror of what we saw Team Singularity run. I imagine Arston's going to be popping up on the Widow here, unless they're going for a sort of a double projectile composition, which we have seen out of them before with Junkrat and the Farah, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. we are going to be going for this big girls high ground hold.
I think one thing that we really need to bring up, is that Team Singularity, they very much switched their target prioritization over to Kodak. They understand that for these huge targets to stay on the point, that disco orb has to go, because there's so much extra damage pumped out by that, and 6nakes, they will zone in on one target with disco orb and just pick apart your team one by one. So now that Kodak is removed from the fight, it's very easy to remove the rest of the players afterwards. And Team Singularity, they've caught on to this now. So we'll have to see how they get to him, and will 6nakes be able to defend Kodak enough in these upcoming fights?
Heiko laying out some scouting rockets there, just seeing what's available. He knows that Team Singularity now are going to be running the 3-3, or the GOATS comp, as you called it before.
The old GOATS comp. Oh, we've seen it before. Hopefully we'll see one last ride once again. 6nakes, they hold on the high ground though. They've managed to hold it for quite a while for the time being, and really it's going to come down to how Christopher uses that hold. It's extremely important to keep a lot of these characters at bay, especially nerfed on the Reinhardt.
And they're making sure they use the environment here to make sure that they're not taking more damage than they need to, ensuring that Vigility cannot spam down those grenades as fast as he'd like to. But now Vigility's moving on to the cut. It's a very dangerous position for him. He doesn't have another concussive mine to take himself away, and Fall's going to take advantage. The whip shot cracking on his back, and that's going to be a huge source of DPS now for Snakes removed.
Yeah, that 70 damage whip shot will take anyone out whenever required, but Asking going huge now.
Double kill coming out from it, make it a triple. Mono join the club, getting Tinnitus right there, and Fall's just going to duck off the edge, I imagine. See you later. Just going on an all expenses paid trip down the Grand Canyon. No helicopter included.
Well, Pacine definitely not down there. I don't think there's any water to begin with at the bottom of that cliff, so it's just a very, very long and painful fall to the bottom. Now, Christopher, 60%, he will have the supercharger, and this is going to be really good for 6nakes when it comes online, because it'll mean the rest of the guys on his team, especially Facility, pumping out a lot of damage with that extra 50%, will get Riptires at the ready to just push back Team Singularity whenever. And already we are 2 minutes 21 on the clock. Straight to the back line now, Fall and Nerf find Asking.
Yeah, great dive there from Fall and Nerf. They caught Asking out when he was unsuspecting, taken from 200 to 0 in very short time. Often used to be incredibly careful though, quickly losing health, but he will get the attention of both healers. Now Vasili's going to try and bring it back. He's got a Riptire in hand, he's got his eyes on Mono, he's going to be climbing up, and down goes the Angel. The only healing now available for Team Singularity is Lind. There's not going to be any availability of a Transcendence, but Obling's still got his eyes on those supports, but Harson's going to be finishing that one off. It looks like Team Singularity may well be able to hold here with the absence of Mono. Or rather, 6nakes may be able to hold.
A huge stunner. It will be up to Fall to remain on this point. There is no health pack there. Both of them so low. Who gets the health pack? That is the question. The 30 HP per second coming up from Noble Harmony is going to keep Fall up for the time being. It will be the side of 6nakes. Still remaining on the high ground, preventing Team Singularity from going any further. But they start to converge on the point now like that.
Here comes the pulse bomb, he's got it in, and it's going to be eaten. Great play there from Heiko to save Kodak and K from an explosive end. Asking is looking to see what's coming in, but you've got to be focused on the point as well. It's just Christopher there out on his own. Kodak was too late with the Transcendence, but it is going to save Cave while he goes in to try and bring him back. But maybe Oblin can come in now with that all-important blade. Here it comes. He's already taken down Christopher. He's slicing, he's hacking, he's slashing, but he's going to be waylaid by a grenade. And straight back to the healing of his loving supports now. 3 minutes on the clock for Team Singularity with that eventual claim of a first point.
This was not a bad defense from 6nakes. Give him a lot of time to work with here. Asking, use Infrasight early, make sure that the guys on Team Singularity won't go onto the high ground early and push them back. They need as much time as possible and need as much space to work with. They are protecting Godot much more though. As you see, he stays in the back lines, not as aggressive as before, getting those kills, rather as assists rather than full-on kills at the moment.
Oh, Mono standing out in the open, and Asking is all too happy to take that opportunity. Gonna quickly duck away, but now they've got to worry so much about so many things. Asking with a headshot onto Obling. Nerfed blown apart by the tire. It's just so overwhelming, Blank.
I mean, I guess you could say they were asking for it.
That's a ha-ha in chat right there.
Malfig now, he has the self-destruct file with the pulse bomb and nerfed on that primal rage. So it's going to be a very, very heavy dive with an explosive beginning. But he'll be down to cave to get out the way with the Valkyrie, keep the rest of his team up nice and healthy as Facility does not have a Riptire to waylay this team as they push in.
Facility blown away, and now Asking's the next target on the list of Singularity. They're making a concerted dive. The healing was there, but now the defense makes us run out as well. Kill after kill. Kodak's the next target. You talked about how much they heal, but there's no one left. He's going to be floating off the edge. And unless you're going to overclock those levitation engines, you're going to go for a big old fall. That's going to pick up credit for that, but I do think Kodak was resetting.
Yeah, he's jumping off the side there. I mean, the boot came out from nerf, but yeah, make sure they get back onto the point. 1 minute 33. We have seen more miraculous holds on this point, so 1 minute 28. It's enough time to work with. But Fal just preventing any of these guys from getting out of the point, and Asking switches over to Soldier. Needs to quickly sprint onto the high ground, and Christopher's got to take damage. He's going to come out of here.
Yeah, but Fauna knows that Asking doesn't have a biotic field available. He's going to be pinning these guys down. He's got his eyes on Facility. You can't shield in that many directions. Out comes a Valkyrie. It's a desperate attempt to keep him alive. It's going to be the Transcendence that does so. Lind keeping Mono nice and safe to bring the Resurrection in. Down comes a self-destruct here from Heiko. Will he be able to claim any lives? It will be nerfed. He goes down first. 55 seconds left on the clock. And Asking's going to be asking Obling to leave with the Helix Rock. It doesn't look like 6nakes are going to be in control. They've got to stay on the point here because it's so miraculously close to getting that second point.
And this is where Facility, with that 150 armor rally, comes really into play. It took an extra slash to kill Kodak in that fight, and it meant that it was the side of Obling not able to get into the backlines and take out Asking afterwards, that he might have been able to do so if he had a little bit more time on his hands. And time is of the essence now, with only 20 seconds on the clock. Christopher can hold this one out, and Asking gets the high ground positioning with the tactical advisor. Gonna be pulling this one out early. He has to contend with a large shield though on the point. Gonna quickly over the side, but misses the jump. This could be crucial for this team to get through.
There's a large meat pool to get through here for Asking, and Christopher's going to be leaving away with that primal rage. Already Fal has fallen, and Lynn's going to be joining him. This may well be what Team Singularity had always feared. Snakes are in the lead. Mono's gone down as well. Molfig's trying to bring it back with a self-destruct, but it was just a hope and a prayer. Overtime is in session, but it doesn't. No, get him a point. Oh, what? No, Snakes have actually won it. I was so confused right there, Blank.
Like a boa constrictor, continues to put the pressure on, and slowly but surely, Team Singularity, the life is crushed out of them. We're going to swing this one back over the desk. They're going to break it down for you. Thanks for watching, guys.
And we are back, and unfortunately, Singularity could not bite off the heads of the Snakes. 3-1 series for Snakes, and although that last map looked really close, I see you with the flag, and Des looks depressed because he has a red shirt. So, or maybe he always looks that way. I'm not sure, but let's go over Hanamura to start, where Snakes swapped to the double projectile on point B. Asking just went off on this Pharah, and we usually don't see him play as much Pharah. And while his fall fell a little short, no pun intended, on the Tracer, and an Obling with his questionable ambitious blades, does. Tell me, how were Snakes able to hold like a forever defense on Hanamura against Singularity?
It was just a case again with Singularity where we spoke about it before the game started. We said if they've run this quad tank, chances are they will take that first point, but there are concerns around how they would take second. And that was exactly what turned to be in the end of it. They just could not deal with that double projectile. And I don't think even we expected it. No one thought we would see double projectile coming out of Snakes. And especially seeing Asking going onto the Pharah. When we know that Facility plays Pharah, that was a huge surprise. But they consistently won every single fight they had with that double projectile comp. They're kind of renowned for being a double sniper team. I think after that performance, they should be a double projectile team because that was some impressive stuff.
Yeah, and it's also weird, how much flexibility that came out from Facility and Asking. Asking was, playing Junkrat, played Pharah, played a bunch of other heroes, and even, they'd even swap heroes. It'd be Facility on the Junkrat instead of Asking. Asking, was doing things that we don't see like regular Pharah players. He was hitting like concussion mine into rocket, just like very, very awesome tech coming out from Asking, a person who we haven't seen play too much Pharah. So really, I think the DPS duo coming out from Snakes here absolutely was phenomenal.
hydration 2.0, it feels like.
Yeah.
No Doomfist though, but now on the
Soon.
Snakes' offense, I feel like asking switching to the Soldier was a necessary switch for them. And then when they took control of that high ground, they using Brigida to shut everything down for the defense. It didn't take long for Snakes to close out Hanamura. Kenobi, what did Singularity need to do to respond to what Snakes brought out on their adaptations?
I think Singularity might have been a little bit too patient and just kind of like turtle just a little bit too much, to stay back and, try and wait for, the perfect blade. I think Obling held on to blade for a very long time and was waiting, for asking to get that high ground and then solo ult him, but he solo ulted him and then he went through the window and couldn't get back. So then asking was just able to free farm from the top of that, point on point Hanamura B rather. And he was just doing so much damage. And I think Singularity, whenever we said it kind of while we were talking like throughout the games, Singularity is very much when in doubt, dive it out. And they'd always just switch back to dive whenever they had a problem. And props very much to Snakes. They were able to counter that very well with the amount of flexibility that both of their DPS have.
It was really interesting on the second point, I thought, because for a long time when Snakes were trying to push onto that second point, we even said ourselves, the players would have been aware of it. They were going to try and get Asking on the high ground and just protect him and let him pick people off and then dive point when they had a favorable either 6 versus 5 or 6 versus 4. They did a really good job of making sure they were holding the higher ground with the dive comp, so that as soon as Asking showed up on the Soldier, they would dive him, get him off the high ground and say, no, you're not getting this style of setup. The best part when it came into it was he actually went to the other side of the bridge with his ult and popped it when no one would have ever expected him to pop it, and that forced Singularity to have to respond straight away. Problem is, they couldn't respond quickly enough, and by the time they'd actually managed to get to him, the rest of Snakes had cleaned up the back line of at Singularity. They'd taken the point, and it was game over from there. So really, really good, smart play coming out of Asking.
That's something else, that piggybacking off of Dez's point just a little, I felt like Snakes was doing more of the initiation where Singularity was being more of the reactionary to what Snakes was doing. And when you're playing dive, you usually want to be the ones who are taking the fight to them. And when you're turtling like that with dive, you're kind of just left in just like a huddled corner, right? You're not able to do too much and you only have that one shot. So I really would have liked to see Singularity take more of the initiative and not be as reactionary to what Snakes is doing.
Let's get into the juiciest map of this series. Route 66, were kind of a reoccurring trend for Snakes is their weakness on payload offenses. We saw Kings Row unable to finish the map. Same thing for Snakes on Route 66. While Singularity fell back to their strengths of the triple tank, triple support, and adjustments from Snakes, including visibility to Brigida, to the Tracer, asking from the Widow to the Soldier. Incredible performance from Snakes. But Des, why do they fall so short on completing payload maps?
It just felt like a bit of a struggle for the most part. Singularity's defense, to be fair, was really good, going with the Orisa on the high ground, and then especially with Obling sat behind. I remember that one little clip where we sat and watched Asking for about 10 seconds trying to find an angle onto Obling, who was behind a rock. And he was constantly looking like, I can't find him. And then suddenly Obling turns around, headshots him, and goes back to shooting everyone else. And that was kind of the summer of the attack, I felt, in a lot of ways. They were trying to deal with Singularity, couldn't for the longest time. And it did really take them a while to get going. And once they managed to crack them open on that first point, it wasn't so bad, to be fair.
Yeah, and I think another thing that was interesting is like this was the map really where Obling looked like he was doing a lot better on the Widow, and this was probably the map where I would have been trying to say, this is the one time really that we've seen Obling beat, Asking in the Widow battle. If there was a time to ever win a game, it would be this game. And they just weren't able to do it. Unfortunately, Obling was forced to switch back over to the Genji on offense. It just didn't work as well as he was playing. He's playing very decent Widow. I would have liked to have seen him play it more. But coming out from the side of Snakes, I thought they did a really good job. Again, adapting. It's been just the amount of flexibility that they have. Whereas you're looking at someone like Obling, who can either play like Genji or play like something like the Widow, and you're having these other two DPS on the other side who can play like 4 different heroes at once. So I think that really just kind of messed up Singularity just a little bit.
Yeah, Facility had so much flexibility. We saw him play almost every DPS on the board and even surprised us on how well he executed his blades in this match. And even Obling, I think, had a better performance on Route 66 than we saw him back on Lijiang Tower and stuff like that. But this was Singularity's map to win. Snakes were unable to finish, and Singularity won King's Row because of this. Kenobi, why was this not the same thing on Route 66?
I don't know. It's weird because I always when I was looking at Singularity, just please play your triple tank your 3-3, your goats comp, because the way I had saw them played on King's Row was just absolutely phenomenal. And they kept always falling back to dive, and then at the last moment there on Route 66, they switched back to the quad tank, but it was too late. I think they really just caught in their own mind of not letting things, play out just a little bit. I think, especially with things like 3-3, you got to wait till those ultimates are online before you decide to switch. And it looks like they might have gotten just a little bit, frustrated and say, okay, well, we're going to go play dive now because that's what we're comfortable with. I really would have liked to have seen them stick onto it, onto the 3-3 just a little bit more, instead of just saying, oh, we lost that one fight, let's switch back to dive.
I think there's a small problem with Singularity as a whole, and I said it to you guys during the cast, and I may as well say it now and be quite frank about it. The problem with Singularity is they're quite predictable, and there's another word I almost want to throw into there as well, and that's unsure of themselves, because we saw at the very, very start of that, the reason why King's Row went so well is because that tank-heavy composition. They're coming up against a comp that is on the same level as them. They're all on the ground. They can push into them. They can take the fight and force the issue. Problem here is they're being forced to play into counter dive on the high ground. If they're playing 3-3, they aren't going to be able to match these guys head on, as we saw. They managed to get one pick onto Facility, I think it was, and then otherwise got utterly slaughtered for about 2 minutes. By the time they went into full dive, it took them far too long to get things rolling, so they were constantly fighting against the clock, and that uncertainty of themselves, the indecisiveness, was what really cost them, because by the time they actually got the ball rolling, there was 30 seconds left on the clock and they were in panic mode. So I would like to see them kind of go into this with more of a game plan and think, actually, Route 66, they're going to play up on the high ground. We've got to contest the high ground. Therefore, let's go dive. Let's take a fire if we have to. Let's do something to respond, because that 3-3 pick that they spent 2 minutes trying to make work, in my eyes, was a total waste of time.
Well, now to go over the standings, this has only been the first match of the final week of EU Contenders Trials, where 6nakes have officially secured the at least a spot going into Contenders. So clap, clap, vive la résistance, as we have Org, vive la France, and we have Org and Bazooka Puppies will be joining them officially in Contenders, whilst the teams that have not officially made it, Northern Lights, Morning Stars, and that's a disband, mathematically cannot get in. But what is still a question mark is 1 point and Singularity. Last question to you, Des. Singularity is facing disband. Disband is already out. Can Singularity possibly, to you, pull out a series win to secure that spot?
If they are decisive, yes. We've got to see them play to their strengths, play to the map. Just think smart and just think about your decisions a little bit, because that whole 3-3 thing again on Route 6 was a big slip of the mind to me. If they get that right, they're against a team that, they've actually put on a really good show here against a team who is top of the table, who's now qualified, who's been looking fantastic. They're against a struggling, that's a disband side, and they should be able to take that series. If they don't, there are serious questions to ask around what's going on with this team, because they should be winning matches like that. And even here, you should feel maybe at least forcing this going to a fifth map was what was on our agenda, and no doubt on theirs as well.
And you also, if you're the side of Team Singularity here, the cards have to really fall in your favor here, because at one point have to play Samsung Morning Stars Blue, another team that is struggling. So you're maybe left it a little bit too late for if you're Singularity, but you're really crossing your fingers hoping that 1 point, is gonna, fall a little bit in that next match. So, Singularity, they can do it. I mean, we saw how they played on King's Row. They definitely have the tools, but they just need to stick to it, like Des says, and they need to, be a little bit more confident in themselves and in their play.
Well, everybody, this will close out our broadcast here today. I'm your host, Lemon Kiwi. This was Des and Kenobi as my analysts. Want to thank Blank and Leg Day, giving you all the casting action and to tell you about, well, why isn't this a Blizzard stream? Well, because this is Broadcast.gg. We are a group of amateur developing and learning casters here to bring you all the action. And if you are interested in learning how to cast, want some more resources, how to host or be an analyst, we will drop our Discord link in the chat, where anybody, everybody, all experiences levels are welcome to join us. But we're excited to have you. We're excited to broadcast for you. And this was Broadcast.gg. We will be back tomorrow at the same time to bring you our next match with similar desk and similar casters. But this will close it out. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night.
Massacring of all the Omnics. I mean, you kind of want some sweet tunes on your way around. 6nakes, they have Kodak with a coalescence, but a back! Earthshatter takes down tons!
Nerf is a very sneaky beaver, and he's proven it right there. Dismantle own attack. Obling building up towards the energy. Now he's going to give Lynn the shield. Moving forward, he can potentially run his way into this Graviton Surge. Not sure if you want to be staying there, though. In comes Christopher with the charge. Nerf turned into a twisted metal salad on the wall. And there's going to be a quick reset. Asking raining down from the sky. Everyone on this team can play Farah.
Everyone. There's not a single person that can't play it. This seems to be their signature hero. It feels like it's a bunch of friends who all play Pharah like, shall we make a team maybe? And back on the Diva.
And there's the slack being picked up by asking instead. Obling and Lind falling victims of the weather. They weren't ready for the storm. They should have bought an umbrella. Oh, that rhymed.
For everyone. There's the trap!
Oh, we're midway through the cars! Facility says no, he's turning it down. We've received a noise complaint. Christopher pops himself a primal rage, but one after another, Team Singularity are falling. There was never a last fight territory now. In comes the self-destructive. That's actually going to claim asking. He couldn't sprint away in time. Down goes the hammer, and he picked up both the supports of 6nakes. Cave and Kodak are down. Heiko's going to be joining them. Lynn's just going to be coming out with a biotic grasp of a rally. Is got to Christopher. That's a good way to start it, but Lynn's already down. Foul blown away too.
Explosive finish to Hanamura here. Snakes holding out strong, asking Facility, Heiko, the bombs finish this race, only 150 HP in the full. Now the thing is though, is Obling is fighting against Asking, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Finds the shot, and that's going to open so much now. Asking to shoot these shots onto the tank line, there's nothing they can do.
They absolutely do. Falls down, but Mono's going to bring him back in. That's a very dangerous flight, my friend, right into the jaws of a waiting spider. And look at that, Kodak picking up a double kill to finish it off, and ooh, some nice parkour going on there from Asking. So as a blade, Facility's all got all the health he wants, but none of the targets that he wanted. It's going to be Asking on the top, who's claiming the kills. And one after another, it doesn't look like the Danish side will fall before the Snakes. I didn't know they could be native to Denmark. Oh my god, what has just happened? I think he got boot back. Asking's just been bamboozled. He's been Houdini'd. He's been completely strict, and Asking with the question marks in the chat. Don't worry, buddy. I'm right there with you. Either way, Nerf's going to be picking that one up, and Asking, he's only got 20 HP, but he is going to find his way onto a pack here. The Kodak's coming through. He's got the D-Mech and the D-Life. And Facility's going to finish this one off. Obling and Lind fall down. This may well be enough for Snakes to potentially bring it to the end. All-important defense matrix. Everyone's caught within now. Down comes the self-destruct. So many people caught. Asking and Christopher blown away, and Kodak tried to save them with the Transcendence, but he gets laid down on the ground by Nerfed with that.
That 70 damage whip shot will take anyone out whenever required, but Asking going huge now.
Double kill coming out from it, make it a triple. Mono joined the club, getting Tinnitus right there, and Fal's just going to duck off the edge. Oh, Mono standing out in the open, and Asking is all too happy to take that opportunity. Going to quickly duck away, but now they've got to worry so much about so many things. Asking with a headshot onto Obling. Nerfed blown apart by the tire. Transcendence, but they don't move forward, and now Nerfed into their midst. In comes Obling. He's got the lightsaber out, trying to bring balance to the force, and he's certainly going to be doing that. Kodak and Asking falling by the wayside. Christopher's just putting Tesla coil into the wind, and appears that he does so. That will be time for Asking to start getting stuff done. Fal sends him a tire, but doesn't quite claim anyone. Now Asking's just trying to desperately trade damage, and he is going to get his eyes on his co-sniper, but Heiko's going to be able to finish that off with a quick flick onto Mono. Get out of here, son. Going to try and move forward, swinging now. Nerf's under pressure, but he's going to lay down the hammer. 5 on the floor, both for supports. Christopher's down, so is Asking. And as quickly as they came in, 6nakes are going to be exterminated.
Those were some massacring of all the Omnics. I mean, you kind of want some sweet tunes on your way around. 6nakes, they have Kodak with a coalescence, but a back! Earthshatter takes down tons!
Nerfed is a very sneaky beaver, and he's proven it right there. Dismantled own attack. Obling building up towards the energy. Now he's going to give Lind the shield. Moving forward, he can potentially run his way into this graviton surge. Not sure if you want to be staying there, though. In comes Christopher with the charge. Nerf turned into a twisted metal salad on the wall. And there's going to be a quick reset. Asking raining down from the sky. Everyone on this team can play Pharah.
Everyone. There's not a single person that can't play it. This seems to be their signature hero. It feels like it's a bunch of friends who all play Pharah like, shall we make a team maybe? And back on the Diva.
And there's the slack being picked up by Asking instead. Obling and Lind falling victims of the weather. They weren't ready for the storm. They should have bought an umbrella. Oh, that rhymed.
For everyone. There's the trap!
Oh, we're midway through the cars! Facility says no, he's turning it down. We've received a noise complaint. Christopher pops himself a primal rage, but one after another, Team Singularity are falling. There was never a last fight territory now. In comes the self-destructive match, actually going to claim Asking. He couldn't sprint away in time. Down goes the hammer, and he picked up both for supports of 6nakes. Cave and Kodak are down. Heiko's going to be joining them. Lynn's just going to be coming out with a biotic grasp, but rally is got to Christopher. That's a good way to start it, but Lynn's already down. Foul blown away too.
Explosive finish to Hanamura here. Snakes holding out strong, asking Facility, Heiko, the bombs finish this race, only 150 HP in the pool. Now the thing is though, is Obling is fighting against Asking, and that's exactly what I was looking for. Finds the shot. That's going to open so much now. Asking to shoot these shots onto the tank line. There's nothing they can do.
They absolutely do. Falls down, but Mono's going to bring him back in. That's a very dangerous flight, my friend, right into the jaws of a waiting spider. And look at that, Kodak picking up a double kill to finish it off, and ooh, some nice parkour going on there from Asking. So that's a blade. Brazilian's all got all the health he wants, but none of the targets that he wanted. It's going to be Asking on the top, who's claiming the kills. And one after another, it doesn't look like the Danish side will fall before the Snakes. I didn't know they could be native to Denmark. Oh my god, what has just happened? I think he got booed back. Asking's just been bamboozled. He's been Houdini. He's been completely Shrek'd, and Asking with the question marks in the chat. Don't worry, buddy. I'm right there with you. I'm away. Nerf's going to be picking that one up, and Asking, he's only got 20 HP, but he is going to find his way onto the pack here. The Kodak's coming through. He's got the D-Mech and the D-Life. And Facility's going to finish this one off. Obling and Lynn fall down. This may well be enough for Snakes to